PPP, you done a lot of talking, not a lot to see. Up in the millions like 2.3, but you all got it all, getting off scot-free. Try to talk tips like we're talking about stock, but you're talking about men printed on cardstock. When you open your mouth, I take it with a grain of salt. Cause the market's down and you're clown, it's all your fault. You ruined the hobby I love with the bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruined the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. Did you dip me out? I think you dipped you out. What you talking about? I don't think you did. Yeah, let's do shady shit like the GOBs, like it's wholesale thing with the mid-FTs. Taking money from the people that pay. Most of them are broke, but that's okay. He's getting money, even better tax-free. Other non-stimulus for PPP. You ruined the hobby I love with your bullshit, Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson. You ruined the hobby I love with your bullshit, Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson.
Here we go.
B-side on the beat.
What's going on with that PPP? You done a lot of talking, not a lot to see. Up in the millions like 2.3, but Jeff got it all, getting off scot-free. Try to talk tips like we talking about stock, but you're talking about men printed on card stock. When you open your mouth, I take it with a grain of salt, cause the market's down and you're a clown, it's all your fault. You ruined the hobby I love with your bullshit, Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruined the hobby I love with your bullshit, Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. Did you dip, Jeff? I think you dipped, Jeff. What you talking about? I don't think you dipped yet. Willie's doing shady shit like the GOBs, like his whole failed thing with them NFTs, taking money from the people to pay. Most of them are broke, but that's okay. He's getting money, even better tax-free. Loving all the stimulus from PPP. You ruined the hobby I love with your bullshit, Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruined the hobby I love with your bullshit, Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruined the hobby I love with your bullshit, Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruined the hobby I love with your bullshit.
What is going on, everybody? Hopefully, guys are doing well out there. That is right. We are back again here on the Sports Card Radio program. Before we dive in and we get to today's topics, and we have some explosive allegations and admissions by the high-end card fondlers in the community. Before we get to that, let's honor all of the veterans that have served, both past, present, and future, that make this country the best in the world. If you're in America and you don't think this is the best place to live, find your nearest ICE agent or find the next Greyhound bus station and get the fuck out of here. Men and women around the world are protecting your rights, your freedoms. If you don't want to be here, get the fuck out of here. I'll pay more in taxes so we can raise the salaries of these men and women, both past, present, future, and the fallen. Thank you to all the veterans out there. We really appreciate it every single day. We're grateful that you exist, and we're grateful of the hard work that you are doing and the sacrifices you have made for this country, for your families. And we are so grateful to all of you. We are obviously here on a beautiful Tuesday night, November 11th. Just a month and a half away from Christmas, but boy, oh boy, Ryan, we've got a list of sports card influencers, and a lot of them are going to go on the naughty list. Are your comps fake? Are the prices that you are seeing on the repacks and the websites and the golden auctions and the PWCC auctions, are they being defensively shillbidded? We have new terms in the hobby. There used to be just shillbidding, but you have influencers and hobby luminaries like Dr. James Beckett talking about the different types of shill bidding, even though someone in this hobby actually has gone to jail for shill bidding. Maybe you have to start renaming it so you don't get in trouble as well. The former PWCC website is now Fanatics Collect. That owner has seen his life fall into shambles after he was alleged to shill bid. And we even have Probstein 1, 2, 3 leaving eBay. Nobody believes that he did that voluntarily. He probably did that because he knew the time had come. The shill bidders are out. They're bidding up the prices of these high-end cards. Most people can't afford them, but certainly the guys that are bidding on them can't afford to watch them go for a nickel lower than what they paid. We've got Jeff Wilson involved, including some explosive allegations that he potentially shill bidded up that Steph Curry card he was bragging about paying a PSA upcharge for just a couple of weeks ago. I thought Jeff was so rich and wealthy, Ryan, that he wouldn't have to come in and defensive shill bid his cards, but sounds like he might be one of the culprits and the criminals out there as well. He took $2.2 million from the United States taxpayers to fund a marketing business that no longer exists. Everybody is welcome to call in if they want to. We'll drop the link down below. We've got extensive show notes and a lot of things to talk about. Your hobby heroes don't want you to watch tonight. So maybe a lot of you guys should tuck yourself into bed, put the diaper on, and turn out the lights. Keep the night light on if you need to. For the big boys out there that serve their own dinner, and no, we're not talking about Neo Cards and Comics, who gets one email and has to take down a video. There's a lot of influencers in this hobby that rely on a sponsor check or the fear of getting a lawsuit. Sports Card Radio is not one of them. If anybody listening, and that goes for Jeff Wilson, P. Ryan Collectibles, or anybody in this hobby wants to send over a lawsuit over here at Sports Card Radio, I know what my bank account reads, and I know where my attorney is. Do you? And do you really want to see your bid history revealed to not only my attorney in Discovery, but the world? We'll see if the lawsuits come in or the threats to take down the videos. Sports Card Radio may or may not have taken down videos in the past, Ryan. But you damn well better believe the check had a couple of zeros after it if it did. We are joined by none other than Ryan. Tim is probably balls deep in something at the moment. Maybe he'll join us later. I did not hear from him. I know he is on that money grind like a lot of people are these days. It appears that Jeff Wilson needs to get back on that money grind because he's got a defensive shill bid. Ryan, how are we doing tonight?
Everything is absolutely freaking amazing over here. I was walking around the old neighborhood over here in Arizona. It was 85 degrees today. And I was trying to think of the last time I was this excited to put my face on YouTube and talk about pictures of men. It's been quite a long time. You know what this? You know what when I was out walking, I was listening to a little music. I started getting a little whiffs of 2019 and the drip of the card trimming scandal. And God, we're going to be talking about Brent Higgins and Jesse Craig to just start the show. So I just getting old whiffs. Boy, if we get a drip card story leading into the holidays where all the influencers and big players in this industry start pointing fingers at each other. Oh boy. You might this will be like the eighth Michael Jordan retirement tour for Sports Card Radio if you get something like that going down. It's been a long time since I've been this excited. This show is brought to you ad free by the incredible year both of us have had. We've been very lucky. Great country we fucking live in, so we sure as hell ain't gonna go anywhere. So this should be playing ad free on YouTube, on the playback, on the like. If there are any ads, I'm not getting any fucking money. We'll be talking about some other sports card content creators who have talked about this. This is like a 3-week-old story, so I'm so jacked. We could I don't know which direction you want to go in. We could start with some funny ass shit. I don't know if you want to talk about the Rolex or if you want to say that to the end.
No, like, look, I actually don't want this to become about me. I mean, I have a way of digressing into these situations, and I think Jeff tried to digress it into something. We can talk about that later. I do want to get to the matter at hand here. This is what everybody is tuning in for, and I think some people might be deep into the weeds on this if they're in there buying these 10, 15, 20, 30,000, $100,000 baseball cards. You know, they're probably aware of what's going on. There's a lot of people that, you know, are watching that market. They might not be able to afford those cards, but like any fan of any type of hobby, you still monitor the high end, whether it's, you know, any type of collectible out there. A lot of people are watching that high end collectible market, and they're seeing these cars go for a lot. And even if you're not playing there, Ryan, you're buying into the breaks, which are being priced on the fact that these cards are selling for a certain price on the secondary market. And then when like a big part of the hobby is obviously these repacks, and the repacks are priced, and the odds that the repacks are based on is all based on resale price. And so if the resale price is fraudulent, if the resale price is being propped up by defensive shill bidding, and we'll put that's constantly going to go into air quotes for the rest of the night. If that is constantly getting propped up, well, my goodness, the price of these repacks is way overpriced, let alone the baseball cards. And then when we come all the way down to the group break level and even all the way down to the hobby box level, well, if guys are defensively bidding these cards and manipulating the market, well, the price of all of these collectibles needs to be repriced lower. And so the person tuning in tonight who might not have $10,000 to buy whatever hot card is out there in the market, well, maybe that card's true value is $1,000, and they might have that. And if we didn't have people like P. Ryan and Jeff Wilson and many, many, many others in this hobby bidding on their own cards, well, the person watching tonight could afford that $1,000 card. And instead of sitting in an auction house or a vault or in P. Ryan's collection or passed and traded between the circle jerk of these influencers, that card could find its home into the safe, into the box, into the prized collection of somebody watching tonight. That is what's at stake with all of this. It's not about if Jeff Wilson makes a nickel more on his Steph Curry card or not. The guy said he was a tech investor, took $2 million of taxpayers' money to invest in a tech company, and that tech company failed. So he got $2 million from the American government forgiven for free. And that business still failed. So we know that Jeff Wilson has a long history of unsuccessful businesses. He was unsuccessful at running some Ben and Jerry's fucking shops. Like, how hard is it to sell ice cream, Ryan? The only successful person in the Wilson household, as most people know by now, is his wife. She had a multi-bagger type of exit, and she brought in the bacon, and Jeff sits around and fondles baseball cards and allegedly is defensively shill bidding a lot of these cards. We know the guy's not successful. Nobody even has to step foot in Cards HQ in a third-tier city. Yes, our veterans do a great job protecting this country, but give anybody the chance to come to America, and Atlanta, Georgia is not even in the top fucking 25 cities that you'd want to visit. And so he owns a card shop in a third-tier city, in a third-tier strip mall, and he runs a third-tier operation there. And so he has to defensive shill bid his shit. But it's not about Jeff Wilson. It's not about P. Ryan, who's bragged about how much money he has. No, it's about P. Ryan getting on a podcast with Dr. James Beckett and calling people idiots. Idiots. Idiots who get a good deal on a trading card. In the history of trading cards, there has likely been billions of trading cards made and manufactured and distributed. Heaven fucking forbid in a free country somebody gets a good deal on a trading card, Ryan. But to Patrick Ryan, that guy's an idiot. Heaven forbid, Ryan, somebody gets a good deal on something in this hobby. We can't let that happen. That is what's at stake right now, is that the hobby is being overtaken by these guys that don't want anybody watching tonight to get a good deal on a trading card. He literally got on a podcast and called these people's idiots for getting a good deal. An idiot on buying a picture of a man for a reasonable price. We've gotten in this hobby, Ryan, where now with the repacks and comps and buying people buying sight unseen for 90 off, that the art of the deal, the art of getting a good deal, it's now forbidden. In fact, you're called names. Heaven forbid if you're in this hobby and you want to shop around and try to find a good deal, the hobby overlords are not even letting you do that anymore. And if you talk about it as an influencer, like some of the people here on YouTube, including Neo Cards and Comics, my God, you get threatened and then you have to take the video down. These guys are not trying to threaten lawsuits. They're not trying to get Neo to lawyer up. They're trying to control the prices of all the sports cards in existence, the billions of them in existence. And then maybe if we're just talking about the high end, the millions of high end cards that are in existence, they want to control the price of that. So you watching never get a good deal on this. Never. And that if they sell the card themselves, that it goes for the price that they want, not the market, not the hobby. They want to control everything. That is what these guys are doing. That is what this is about. It's about control. It's about manipulation. That is why they get on podcasts and call you names. That's why they come to YouTube and get your favorite content creators to take down content. That's why they get on podcasts and invent new terminology which manipulates and alters something that is illegal. It is illegal to shill bid. It is illegal. There is no gray area. There is no defensive shill bidding. But these people want control of everything. Jeff Wilson wants control of all of this. And we'll talk about some of their motives and their reasons later on. I think it's obvious. The consolidation of the industry, Fanatics taking over, Fanatics having so much control. People like Jeff Wilson, who don't even have control or wears the pants in his own household, wants to carve out a small amount of control in this hobby. he didn't have control over his Ben and Jerry franchise. That was controlled by Ben and Jerry. He was told when to open, what the store had to look like, what the product was, how much the price was. He didn't have control there. At 352, he had control over getting $2 million free from the American taxpayer, but he then couldn't control how well the business ran after that, and it had to close. And now here we are. He's found the one industry where he can manipulate and control. That is because the hobby allows these people to do it. Dr. James Beckett gets up there and talks about defensive shill bidding, and influencers aren't even allowed to talk about it. P. Ryan gets up there and calls people an idiot. People who work hard for their money. He even probably called a veteran or two an idiot. A veteran who is strapping his motherfucking boots on every single day to protect people like P. Ryan has maybe 30 minutes to an hour of free time a day, maybe. It might be a week. And heaven forbid that veteran in his free time, Ryan, wants to get on eBay and a card that's been selling for $250, his budget, and because the government's been shut down and he hasn't gotten paid for 36 days, heaven forbid, he doesn't have much money in his bank account and he wants to get a good deal on the card. And P. Ryan calls that guy an idiot. This is the hobby that we're in. These guys want to manipulate and control everything. And the hobby is allowing them to do it. Jeff Wilson gets onto Sports Card Investor and then hypnotizes everybody. Here are the 5 cards going up. And he just hypnotizes you. And let's look at the comps. Everybody's hypnotizing everybody to just check the comps. Look at the comps. Pay 90 off the comps. Well, the comps are fake, guys. The comps are fake. Mm-hmm. You're not allowed to get a good deal on a card. You're an idiot if you're doing that. And so if the comps are fake, then every repack that is being priced and the odds are staggered based on top tier hits, second tier hits, and third tier common hits, that is all fake. If the tiers are messed up because of the comp, that is all fake. And then all the high-end sales that we're seeing, that is all fake as well. And that all trickles down to the low-end trading card and to the guy that's working hard for his money and just wants a deal, or the kid that is just starting out in his career, in his hobby, in his wealth, and all those types of things, and only has $100 to spend. Well, he can't get a good deal, Ryan.
No.
Why don't you run down what's happened over the past couple of weeks? I know everybody has been paying so close attention to all of this, but maybe remind everybody where we've been and where this is going.
Well, first of all, thank you for that. I think that was really kind of echoed the sentiments of how I was feeling about all this. And can I just get a before I start rambling about what has gone on over the last 3 weeks, can I just get a thumbs up if I'm sounding okay? Not there's much that I could do about it, but if I sound decent enough, can I just get a thumbs up before I start talking about it? This again, we're coming to you ad free, courtesy of Ticketmaster, StubHub, Nvidia, Amazon, Netflix stock. That's going to 10-to-1 split. Thank you, guys. STD free. Yes, somebody in the chat says we're coming to you STD free. That's you're goddamn right.
Hopefully.
But we've had major drama, and I've kind of broke it down. I think it's in really 3 parts. Part 1 involving the original drama with Patrick Ryan, P. Ryan, somebody who I've actually known a long time, somebody who's in the ticketing business, somebody who going back 10 years ago, I would get advice about ticketing and selling tickets. We both can speak the language of sports cards and ticket scalping. P. Ryan is somebody in this hobby who before 3 weeks ago is much more respected than either of us. and sees himself that way as well. So, and somebody who in the past I respected. And I think once we blew up on YouTube, I think he would go on some other channels and criticize us. And I have over the last couple years privately messaged Patrick Ryan quite often, saying, "Hey, you better not ever fuck up in this industry, or I'll drag my ass to YouTube and cook your ass." So, in part, we're here to fulfill that promise, because I thought we were boys. We both spoke the ticket language. We could speak the cards. I don't think that people would know about Vegas Dave if not for Patrick Ryan. And this is going back literally a decade. We're talking about old stories that Patrick would help me with. We would talk about, he helped me with tickets and cross listing my inventory across all these platforms, StubHub, Ticketmaster, SeatGeek, TickPick, all the ones. It's pre-COVID, so I don't know what existed back then. But Patrick Ryan was somebody that I respected, and it's shocking that here we are talking about drama really centered around him. But part one involves Patrick Ryan. I want to get that out of the way because he is the person that, at least personally for me, that I would say that I'm closest with, and that I've had, I don't want to call it a friendship, but a kind of an internet acquaintance kind of business type relationship going on over a decade. Acquire with Jesse Craig, my God, that's why this is getting whiffs of 2019. Jesse Craig used to work at PWCC, and of course there was market manipulation and shill bidding. I don't even want to say accusations, proof going on over at PWCC. He's now with Acquire, which is interesting. I can't believe there's anybody in this hobby that gives anything that Jesse fucking Craig says any 2 cents, but here we are in 2025 still doing this. And the Fanatics Marketplace. So part one, P. Ryan, Acquire, Jesse Craig, Fanatics Marketplace. Let me walk you through exactly what happened. On or around October, so last month, about a month ago, P. Ryan subbed, I believe it was a signed Michael Jordan card. The card doesn't really matter that much. Here, slow down for 1 second. P. Ryan subbed a signed Michael Jordan card through Acquire, which is Jesse Craig, to be listed on Fanatics Collect. So I love how these scammers have to use like a fourth party to list on a third party. So I don't know. Just seems like the only reason why you ever use Acquire is to scam people unless they're giving you a better rate on your sales commission. But anyways, P. Ryan submits this Jordan card. Card goes live on Fanatics Collect, a website I've used a lot over the past couple months and placed a lot of bids. P. Ryan placed a bid on this card that he subbed to Acquire that was now on Fanatics Collect. So P. Ryan places a bid. I think it was like $20,000 bid. P. Ryan, like I will sometimes, shows the cards that he bids on or that he wins on Instagram, his stories quite often. And he showed that he had been outbid on this Michael Jordan card, but he mentioned how this was a card that he had submitted. So some eagle eye people on Instagram were like, "Hey, buddy, that sounds like shill bidding. That sounds like the buddy you put in the mega bid, or that sounds like Bill Mastro. That sounds like our boy Brent Higgins. Like, you can't bid on your own shit," or at least before this week. That was what I thought. And so people started to talk about this because it's like, he kind of got caught. I mean, here he was flexing that that this was his card. And then underneath it, it says outbid. Like if you show a Fanatics Collect auction, like if you take a screenshot or you share that, it'll show that you're outbid if you're logged in.
So wait, he shared a screenshot of this card on his
Correct.
own personal social media account
Mm-hmm.
that showed that he had bid on his own card.
Correct.
Wow. So he was in plain sight. He
Yes.
is showing everybody that I am consigning a card. This was his card. He
Mhm.
consigned it at an auction house and then shared on social media a screenshot of that listing with him having the active or a active bid on that item.
Correct.
Interesting.
So this started to percolate it because, again, P. Ryan is a very well-respected guy. He's appeared on Jeff Wilson's channel. He's done collabs with a lot of people. He's very active in the card community on Instagram, a little bit less on YouTube, but very, very active on Instagram, where a lot of this hobby stuff takes place. Anyways, a couple days later, I think it was in their monthly auction, especially a card like that. That was like in their Fanatics Class monthly auction. So it took them a couple days, but Acquire, Jesse Craig, and Fanatics, they remove the item from the auction after they review the footage. P. Ryan does an Instagram live video. I don't know if it was a live video or whatever. He posted a video that he later deleted, where he did admit to bidding on the card that he subbed to Acquire. He gave various explanations as to why he placed the bid. Oh, I was doing it to watch, or I was doing it to place whole. I don't know if it really matters. But to semi-wrap up part one, in his Instagram story vomit from yesterday, or the last couple days, I guess, he has put out many story posts saying, I am sorry for bidding on the card that I was selling. He is now unable to bid or sell on Fanatics Marketplace. I put right here, you can always list through Acquire. That's why I just want people to take a minute and, why does Acquire exist? Why do you need a fourth party to list on a third party? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Because maybe if you get banned, oh, you could call Jesse Craig and he can run your shit.
So you think that P. Ryan submitted this card? Because as most people know, if you want to submit a card to
no, he did.
One of these auction houses.
He did submit the card through Acquire. It got listed. He placed a bid on it. He said it was a mistake. He said he was trying to watch it, blah, 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 right? But he got caught because he showed the screenshot saying he was got outbid. And it was his fucking card. Which, again, people have quite literally gone to prison for doing that. And kicked off the only marketplace they were on. Might be worse than prison.
Well, yeah, we know it was a mistake, because later he essentially got on a podcast, and
that's part two. I don't want to jump ahead.
Okay.
But I just kind of want to break this into parts. That was basically part one. Now, if it ended at that, we wouldn't be going live. There wouldn't have been all this other content, right? This would have blown over. Nobody gives a fuck. P. Ryan could have kind of got back to normal. He maybe got some shill bitter jokes, but this would have blown over fairly quick. Okay. Part one, fairly tame. Guy gets caught shill bidding. He either has got to power through it, or he's got to leave the hobby like what Sports Card Therapist did and just kind of ghost everyone. If you're a content creator guy. Part two is, and you previewed it a little bit in the beginning, is the conversation with Dr. Beckett. And that occurred on November 3rd. So actually, this is about a good 10 days after the item was removed, and the story might have actually been dead at this point. But Dr. Beckett, I think in an effort to rehabilitate Patrick Ryan's reputation, because again, they've all got to be buddy-buddy. They've all got to manipulate these cards together. We're all in this together. We're going to drive these prices higher, and we're going to make some money. So I think Dr. Beckett, in an effort to rehabilitate Patrick Ryan's reputation around the hobby, brought him on his podcast. And this thing is not very long, so I suggest if you haven't listened to it, you go listen to it while it's still up. And in it, both shockingly, especially from Dr. James Beckett and even P. Ryan, who's again very, very respected in this community, they said some things that they said the quiet part out loud. Like they said some shit that you got to go to the national and you kind of got to be in the back room and maybe somebody might whisper something like this. You don't go on to Dr. Beckett, again, if you don't know, this is the guy who started the Beckett magazine company. And if you were around in the mid 80s, late 80s, on through the 90s, that boom, Beckett was as big a brand as anyone, and has been, at one point, was, kind of the Bible for prices and quote unquote comps in this industry. But Dr. Beckett, we'll start with what Dr. Beckett said. And again, this is going around. You're going to hear about defensive shill bidding for the next year. A year from now, somebody's going to throw out a joke or wear a t-shirt about defensive shill bidding at the National. But he said this on a podcast when they were talking about bidding on cards. He said defensive shilling, in the sense of bidding on your own stuff, it's not shilling if you intend to pay. You're saying, I'm going to buy it for that. I'm not bidding it up. I'm saying at that price, count me in. I'll buy it back, quote unquote, from the legendary Dr. Beckett. So he basically admits that he might submit some stuff to auction. These big rich guys, these highfalutin rich guys in the hobby, they submit stuff to an auction, but oh gosh, if it might go too low, these Dr. Beckett guys, they've got to be able to put in a bid and buy it back. I think the very next sentence, again, you can go watch. I think this happens around the 6-minute mark. P. Ryan says, again, a very infamous statement that we'll probably be hearing for quite a long time, maybe in a courtroom someday. My friends, we bid on one another items just to protect them, because we're not going to let some other idiot get a really good deal, quote unquote, from the P. Ryan. Then the very next sentence, Dr. Beckett agrees. He says that does not mess with comps. He was very emphatic when he said that. In fact, comps would be messed up if you didn't have that. Colin, if you weren't able to get in there on those Fanatics Collective auctions and those eBay auctions and bid on your own shit, it would mess up comps. I wonder what he means. I wonder what does he mean, that they would drive the prices lower and the prices would come down? Dr. Beckett, getting a little old and washed. It's been a lot of discussion about how shitty the sports card content is these days, either on YouTube or whatever you're watching, podcast. I don't give a fuck what you're watching. I don't know if it was because I had 4 2.5-hour flights that I took, and while this was going on, I flew like all over the fucking goddamn country the last couple of days or couple weeks. So I had a lot. Breaking news: when you're on an airplane, you have a lot of time to fucking digest some content. So I want to give a shout out to some people who I thought did a really good job covering this part, kind of 1 and 2 of this story. Our boy Dip Daniel. Colin, you know Dip Daniel. You Dip Daniel. He goes on.
Ryan, he could be an escrow between Jeff and I. We'll talk about the bet that I've proposed to Jeff, and it's a serious one.
I love that one.
He could be an escrow. I think he could be the guy sitting in escrow. So I'll reveal. I posted a survey on Instagram. He was one of the answers, and I'll reveal later in the episode who is in the lead there.
I love it. Dip Daniel, he goes on the Because I'm Carlos channel. This is probably like 2 weeks ago or whatever, quite a little bit ago. And he fucking, right after this was. So about probably over a week ago, goes over and fucking cooks Dr. Beckett. Like nobody really has in this hobby, because Dr. Beckett's kind of like a Mount Rushmore kind of guy. And you almost can't say bad things about Dr. Beckett, but Dip Daniel goes out there and fucking cooks his ass. So I thought that was tremendous. I thought the Card Ladder guys gave a thoughtful summary and kind of a good perspective on bidding on auctions from a collector's perspective. And I thought that was helpful for me. I think they probably should touch on a little bit more how they're involved in this whole fake comp kind of manipulation thing. They're very much, I mean, they're the data center at this point for the prices. That's what most of these people use to comp cards. They're not using market movers. They're not using eBay sold anymore. That's all on Card Ladder. And I thought these guys down here, this is called the Sports Card Clubhouse. They had a guest on, John, who I thought was a very thoughtful guy. And I thought these are the 3 best videos I've watched in sports cards in a long fucking time. So I felt like I was very caught up on what had happened. I was like, wow, that's a crazy story. Wonder what P. Ryan will do. A couple other people before I get into part 3, which is probably the most explosive and has happened the last couple days across Instagram and Twitter and hasn't been covered as much as the part 1 and part 2. Neo Cards and Comics, and I think Sports Card Dads had a couple videos that they posted that had been taken down. I asked P. Ryan about that today. Breaking news, I talked to P. Ryan over text message today, and we'll have a pretty explosive text message that he sent regarding Jeff Wilson. Show that here in a minute. P. Ryan says that Neo, the reason why he did send a legal threat or some kind of thing to Neo. Neo, I guess, removed the video, or maybe YouTube did, or one or the other. P. Ryan says that Neo spoke about him out of context. But we didn't go any further into that. I asked them. Go ahead.
Can we pause there? I didn't watch this video. I wasn't not aware of the video. What do we understand the context and what he said about P. Ryan? Because let me just remind everybody. P. Ryan got on his own social media account and posted a screenshot of a card that he was selling. He was the seller of the card. He posted a screenshot on his own account. This wasn't a hacked account. This wasn't photoshopped. This wasn't chat fucking GPT or Anthropic or Grok making shit up. This wasn't the AI hallucinating. This was P fucking Ryan, who we assume Ryan has more than half a brain cell in his head. We assume that since he's calling other people idiots, we assume that maybe he figures his brain cells in his brain actually work. He got on his own social media account and posted a screenshot of him bidding on one of his own auctions, which is normally at worst against the terms of service of most auction houses. At worst, it's a crime. Okay. He did this himself. Okay. And then he flip-flopped and said he was sorry, it was an accident, and then it's not, and then he kind of more or less admitted to all of this. What could have Neo gotten on a video and said about this guy that wasn't worse than what this guy already posted on his own shit, whether it's his social media account or on a podcast? What could have Neo possibly said? And Neo is as beta male content as you possibly can make, just ahead of Jeff Wilson. Okay. So it's not like this guy's on there hard hitting. He's getting on there and reading press releases. Neo doesn't strike me as a guy that would get on there and say anything worse than, oh, I consigned a card and I posted a screenshot of it, which at best is against terms of service. At worst, it's an actual crime. And then, oh, I got on a podcast and called everybody idiots. And we talked about defensive shill bidding with a hobby icon. And we basically said we're trying to control and manipulate this market. And heaven forbid any one of the little minions out there, including the millions of veterans that exist, ever get a good deal on a trading card, because that's for us to get. We've got to control the comps. What could have Neo gotten on a video and said that was worse than that, Ryan, that then caused Neo to use the one or two brain cells in his brain to say, oh, this guy's got me up against the wall, Ryan. P. Ryan gets on his own social media account and admits and incriminates himself. Literally got on his own social media account and created his own firestorm. It wasn't like somebody did investigative journalism. P. Ryan walked into the kitchen, came out with a platter and said, here, hobby, Here's a plate of incrimination of my own personal shill bidding. How could a fucking influencer then get on YouTube and say anything worse about that, and then actually listen to a threat of a guy that incriminated himself, then actually take that threat and take down the video? I am questioning a lot of things tonight, Ryan, but I think the one thing that we've already decided 45 minutes in is Neo Cards and Comics must be one of the dumbest fucking idiots in the world. So when P. Ryan is calling people idiots, I think we can put Neo Cards and Comics in that basket, because the guy incriminated himself. How the fuck are you getting on a video and not saying anything worse than what this guy did to himself? He did it to himself. And it's for him to reason with. He should be getting on podcast and apologizing. Instead, he's getting on podcast and calling the hobby idiots and saying, heaven forbid any of you guys get a good deal. How is any of that out of context when he said it himself, when he posted that he shill bid himself, and then he's later came back, maybe after the Neo video, that everybody is shilling the industry? How could anybody, Ryan, make a video that is any more incriminating or worse than that? Seems to me, Ryan, you could have the lowest rate lawyer, one fresh out of law school, or maybe even one that's still studying. Or Ryan, I hear ChatGPT is pretty fucking good at the law these days. I bet, Ryan, if we typed into ChatGPT, P. Ryan got on his social media account and said he was a shill bidder, and then he got on a podcast and called everybody idiots, and then admitted with Dr. James Beckett that everybody is doing this, and they bid on all their friends' cards. And I got on a podcast and basically read that verbatim. Should I have to take this video down after P. Ryan gets fucking his butthole a little bit tight about it? No. So maybe P. Ryan is right about one thing. There are idiots in this hobby, and I think the person at the top of the list is this Neo Cards and Comics guy.
Well, unless he got paid, and then he's one of the smartest. I'll tell you, the first, you want to know the first message I sent to P. Ryan, who publicly posted his phone number, by the way, on Instagram. He basically was like, I'm done on Instagram after he posted like 40 stories. But then he kept posting his phone number. So I was like, fuck it. I'll text his ass. I'm waiting for the fucking, the Texas A&M game this weekend. So first thing I text his ass at 9:41 this morning, I said, bitch, literally first, this shows you what type of guy I am. Bitch move to go after Neo and Sports Card Dad, in my opinion. Bet you won't try that shit with me. And then I put my name so that you know who the fuck it was too. So, and then we started talking from there. Again, we'll get into some of that conversation. He did say that he did send something to Neo. I'm assuming it wasn't a check. It was some kind of legal thing. I think Neo talked about it a little bit on Twitter that, hey, I got to back down from this stuff because I got to fucking, some grass to water. I don't know what the fuck you do out there, but he says he didn't say shit to Sports Card Dad. So Sports Card Dad, who is now sponsoring your Etsy product, baby. So you guys need to go over to Sports Card Dad's YouTube and hit the subscribe button, or I'm shutting this fucking stream off right fucking now if you guys don't subscribe to Sports Card Dad. And click the Etsy link in his video description. But P. Ryan says he didn't say shit to Sports Card Dad. Here's the thing that the other thing, and I knew this, we knew this a year ago, that Patrick Ryan is an investor in Collect. So this guy can invest in hobby media fucking channels, but somebody can't go on a fucking YouTube channel and talk about him. These guys are so arrogant, and we have talked about this for years, and people just think we're jealous of these fucking losers or whatever the fuck it is. These guys are so arrogant. And actually, if you listen to part 2, Dr. Beckett and P. Ryan come back for a part 2, and the arrogance just drips off of, surprisingly, both of them. Talking about how much money they have, and we have more money than everybody else. And hey, we're not shying away from flexing a Rolex. But we're also not bidding on these cards and trying to manipulate this fucking market. If anybody wants to go through my bid history, we have the same eBay account from the year 2000, which I'm not very good at math, but that's like 25 years ago. People can go through our entire fucking eBay history, 20-year eBay history if they want. That has tens of thousands of feedback and items sold and items bought. And anybody wants to go through our shit that we've ever bought and sold and see if we've manipulated anything, be my fucking guest. Run it through ChatGPT or Anthropic or the next chip that NVIDIA makes. I don't give a fuck. But this is where, in my opinion, we get to part 3. And oh boy, does this story take a turn for some hobby heroes. We've name dropped a lot of them. But one of the biggest hobby heroes, Jeffrey Wilson, and his sidekick, shockingly, T-Pott, get thrown under the bus, not a bus, like the biggest tank we have in this fucking great military that we have. P. Ryan fucking took Jeff and T-Pott and chucked him in front of this fucking tank and just ran him over. And you know what he did when you ran him over? You hit the little reverse button and you fucking boop, 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 ran him over again. You know what he did after that? He fucking ran him over again. And there's probably going to be a little narrative out there going around that, oh, P. Ryan deleted some post or he didn't mean what he said or it was taken out of context. Guys, I had text message conversations today with P. Ryan. I'll show you those texts that where he talks about Jeff. You can decide for yourself if he doubles down or not. Again, I've had a 10-year relationship practically with P. Ryan, talking about sports cards, talking about tickets. Once every 3, 4, 5 months, maybe. Colin, he starts hyper posting on Instagram. And you could go to Dan the Cardman's video today, and I think he shows them all. I have them all screenshotted just in case we have to make a Netflix documentary for this. sportscardshow@gmail.com. If anybody wants to make me an executive producer on this, hit up your boy. But P. Ryan starts hyper posting on Instagram. This is yesterday, or maybe like 2 nights ago. This is very recent. It's part 3 of kind of this story. He says, do not delete your text messages. They can be retrieved. Certainly by law enforcement, probably. And the act of deleting them makes you look more guilty. Then he made an actual post where he says, I'd like to make 2 points. Lots of text messages are being deleted in real time. And I see all y'all, unlike Hammer, 30 million can't hurt me. I don't know. I'm a little younger than him. I don't know if I don't really get that reference. He goes on to talk about the Dr. Beckett podcast, but he started making allegations and dropping that sweet, sweet Georgia tea about some of our hobby heroes, Colin. My goodness, Mr. T-Pott. Mr. T-Pott. I could use some hot tea right now. Because boy, the hot tea that P. Ryan was shedding about T-Pott was fairly explosive.
What do you say about T-Pott?
Used to be explosive like Andre Drummond. He said, P. Ryan, that T-Pott was a shill bidder. He protects Pistons prison prices. He says T-Pott is a bad man. He should go to jail. He said T-Pott is a bad representation of the sports card investor brand. Colin, think about that. If T-Pott's like a bad representation compared to Jeff, like, God damn, that's really falling off the fucking wagon there. He says he was caught red-handed manipulating low-end Pistons prices. But here's where, in my opinion, it was the second story where you get into some granular details here where it's kind of interesting. He says a lot of hobby heroes are deleting text messages and eBay emails in real time. I don't even know how to fucking do that. It's so sad that some T-Pott was spilled earlier this week, but keep deleting your texts with another Pistons super collector. So he names another person here. Another person enters the chat here. We don't know who it is, but it's another Pistons super collector. None of us are paying attention. So he's basically, I think, accusing T-Pott of maybe deleting text messages between him and another Pistons super collector. Then he says down here in small font, it says, friendly reminder that your best friends in the hobby will rat you out over $500. So if I'm reading between the tea leaves here, I don't know if I said that right. I think he's basically, it sounds like P. Ryan may have gotten contacted, maybe directly, maybe indirectly, by this other Pistons super collector, and was shed light onto maybe some text messages that T-Pott had deleted, where maybe he was trying to protect the price of some of his precious Andre Drummond cards, or maybe he's moved on to Cade Cunningham. I don't know who he's on these days. So certainly some explosive allegations against a guy who, compared to Jeff, doesn't have a whole lot of a rap sheet in the hobby against him. T-Pott responded on Instagram just a couple hours before we went live. He says, I have not and will not ever shill bid anything. I am asking the P. Ryan Collection to recant his false claim and to issue an apology. Now, when have we ever had to do this on Instagram? These guys are fucking bitches. I am willing to share any bid or purchase history details with anyone who believes I bid on an item that is mine or for which I own other copies. He goes on in a story to say that I'm happy to be fully transparent with anyone who wants proof of bad behavior, even though I shouldn't have to be, since no proof was ever given to the contrary. If you read this second, again, it's certainly not proof. It's not something you could take that would stand up in any court of law. But it does sound like to me, P. Ryan was contacted by somebody, another Pistons super collector, which would not be outside the realm of possibility, because P. Ryan is super well connected in this hobby and seemingly has the time somehow. He must be scalping some other motherfuckers' tickets, which I think is literally his business model, but I don't want to get into that. He must have the time all day to fucking be texting everybody. My guess is there might be a little smoke here with T-Pott, but nobody cares about T-Pott.
I don't know.
Wait, do we care about T-Pott?
I mean, I don't really even know who the guy is. But are there, like, I'm not really familiar with the NBA that much. Like, are there like, at least the Pistons, like, are there Pistons? Is this really a thing, you think, Ryan? Let's step outside of the realm of things. No, like, are there Pistons values to protect here? That's and I'm asking that generally. I don't know.
I think we were going to talk about this later on. I think this happens all the way down to the $5 card. Colin, we've been to card shows. We've talked to people. These guys fucking care about these pictures of men more than they do their wives. They care about the value. People still think the Jose Canseco 87 card is still going to go up, right? These guys care about the value of these cards more than anything. So they'll shill bid and protect those values, I think, all the way down to like the $1 to $5 level. And then obviously all the way up to the Shine and the Mr. Wonderful shit that they're buying.
Well, so you think that T-Pott is buying Pistons cards? Name your Pistons cards, and yeah, there's going to be Pistons cards that are worth decent money to a lot of money, depending on who you are. You think that he is buying these cards, and then is he turning around and selling his own Pistons cards, and so he is putting defensive bids underneath them? Is that that's the allegation here?
We're going to talk about everybody's favorite hobby hero in a minute, but we will have to kind of talk about different types of market manipulation, specifically in sports cards, and how you would actually go about doing it, in my opinion. And I think he maybe is accusing T-Pott of price protecting certain cards, making sure the value of certain cards stay elevated by placing bids underneath them, which may or may not be seen as sinister, certainly not illegal, maybe not even unethical. Maybe he's price protecting, but I could obviously see a scenario where maybe T-Pott's the bidder of the card. Maybe T-Pott isn't, maybe it's not T-Pott's card to win. He's being told by somebody else to bid on the card. I don't know. There's a number of different scenarios. These guys sit on Discord and Instagram and chat with each other, and these cards kind of get passed around. And why would you send a card to auction? Cards are so hot right now. I put a fucking Rudy Gobert autograph on eBay and it snap sold in like 2 days. A Rudy fucking Gobert autograph, and got like 7 watchers and like fucking question. And 2 days later it was sold. If you price something right, shit snap sells, let alone a fucking Michael Jordan patch or a Michael Jordan autograph. To me, the only need to send something to auction is maybe if you need quick cash or you need to fucking manipulate that auction. Certainly 2 reasons. Yes, I think this happens at all levels of cards. We're not just talking about high-end cards. I do think your $50 cards on Fanatics Collect, there are times where the owner of that card is putting a bid himself or herself or using a proxy, a friend, a buddy, another account. I have 4 different Ticketmaster accounts, probably way more than that going back pre-COVID. You don't think these motherfuckers don't have 18 different Fanatics Collect accounts? Allegations made against Jeff Wilson by P. Ryan. These are interesting. And unless they've posted them hugging or making up or doing a collab on Instagram while we've been going live, P. Ryan doubled down on this shit today. So don't let Jeff or any of his henchmen out there run the narrative that P. Ryan is pulling back on his statements about Jeff, because I'll show you the fucking text in a minute. Anyways, the allegations on Instagram where P. Ryan suggests Wilson, presumably, paid an individual to bid on a Topps Now Steph Curry card. Here's the story over here on the left. It says GW, Jeff Wilson paid S. We don't know who S is. We could certainly make some assumptions. Shine, hit your boy up. I'm going to Vegas this week. You could pick me up my PJ. To bid on his Curry card to prevent a low comp. Again, we're going to talk about different types of manipulation than what P. Ryan might have meant here. He paid Nat Turner, presumably that's who NT is, for the upcharge, so to get a favorable comp. Highest in the room, Travis Scott playing in the background. You'll remember that Jeff Wilson flexed that he had to pay an upcharge for this card. And before he deleted the post on his Instagram, somebody asked P. Ryan that, hey, maybe I need to follow and see what's going on here. And P. Ryan says, yeah, lots of big collectors are asking friends to bid on cards. So he makes some allegations about Jeff, saying that Jeff, who has been flexing, if you haven't seen the Steph Curry card, and I'm going to go through the auctions in a minute and maybe what Jeff is kind of doing here and why he's doing it. Implication being that Jeff maybe paid, not particularly on this card, but maybe another card. Again, I will get into some context here. So again, I texted our boy P. Ryan today. Whoop. You see how that looks on here. It's small, but I'll read it. So again, I call him a bitch for fucking threatening Neo and Sports Card Dad. I call P. Ryan just a bitch. I was like, dude, fuck you. You wouldn't do that to me. Call in, like, basically like, fuck you. That's bitch shit. You pick on those 2 guys. Like that's bitch shit, P. Ryan. Like that's some like I'm above you shit that I fucking hate. I fucking hate that shit. that I'm up here and I'm going to look down on you and threaten to sue you because I got more money than you, a better collection, or more clout in the hobby, or fuck you, P. Ryan. Like, fuck you. Fuck you. Seriously, fuck you, bro. That's why the first thing I texted you was like, that's some bitch ass shit. Do that shit to me and watch what the fuck happens. I'll solo video your fucking ass for the next 2 months on here. How many views would that get? And I can speak the language of your other business. Imagine what I could talk about there. There's a lot of FTC shit going on with ticketing. Boy, I bet I could get a lot of things percolating up. That was some bitch shit, because you wouldn't do that shit to me. I'm not worried at all about getting anything legal from P. Ryan. Are you fucking kidding me? I'll be in Jamaica to fucking tomorrow before I get anything from P. Ryan. Anyways, I'm telling you can't really see it up here. I cut it off. It says call in tonight. I'm telling call in tonight. And then I say, hey, what's the deal with Jeff? And he has some drama going on with his mom, allegedly. So he says, maybe tomorrow we'll call in. I ain't got fucking time for that shit. And here's P. Ryan, his texter in gray. I'll read it. It says, Jeff, like all high-end sellers, has to protect his sales. But it was wrong for me to call him out. I should call out everyone, in all caps. And so I said, why don't you? He said, oh, my friend, I may go nuclear. This is P. Ryan. Still, all these motherfuckers have protected cards. I'll go into what that means. And I have proof, but I have no credibility, rightfully so. But my data is accurate. And I said, send over the data. And again, we continue to fucking talk.
Hold on, Ryan. We do have T-Pott. Let's give the guy a chance, since we are talking about him. Let's give him a chance to
absolutely
talk about himself. Mr. T-Pott, how are we doing tonight? Can you do an audio check really quick?
Hey guys,
how are we doing tonight? You sound fucking wonderful. So
okay.
After I'm assuming you had a full night of bidding on Detroit Pistons cards. Yeah, other than supporting the price of a Dennis Rodman 1986 Flair card, how's it going tonight for you?
Yeah, I've got my wall of Pistons here, just making sure I keep the value propped up on them. Yeah,
sure. And so obviously there's been like you were, I would assume, I don't want to put words in your mouth, slightly sideswiped this week in this what I would call a tornado of P. Ryan. I think you've addressed the situation on the Instagrams, if you will. I'll just let you say what, is there something that you want to address right away? And we'll kind of get into maybe a line of questioning after that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, maybe I'm a little more reserved than you guys when it comes to assessing things. I first saw Neo's video kind of calling attention to this issue. And I had the same reaction he did, which was just kind of jaw dropped. Like, I was more surprised by Dr. Beckett than I was Patrick, to be honest. The podcast that Dr. Beckett was like defending and defensive shill bidding, and I had never heard that term, had me thinking a lot. And so I went to Jeff and said, I think we need to talk about this. And he agreed. And we talked about it on Cards on the Table on the Sports Card Investor channel. And I tried to separate what I, consider objective truth, objective right and wrong, as opposed to like subjective intention on the part of a person. I don't think I said anything too crazy, except to categorically denounce shill bidding in general and say it's not right. And then all of a sudden on Sunday night, I'm like sitting down to watch a movie with my wife, and my friends are texting me going like, P. Ryan's posting about you shill bidding Pistons cards. And I'm like, what? So I looked at his Instagram and of course screenshotted it. And the next morning it was gone. And I saw that he said he was having a hard time and his mom was in an accident or something. So I certainly feel for him if that's the case. Actually, my 96-year-old grandma is dying like right now, probably tonight. So I can sympathize with that. My mom's been pretty sick, but shill bidding's wrong. And I don't shill bid. And I don't know what he was talking about, which is why I posted an almost 15-minute audio clip on that screenshot that you have on my Instagram today, just to explain that I don't know. He never provided any proof. Obviously, he's saying things. I don't know if it was to try to entrap me somehow or what the deal was. I don't know if he just hit a low spot that night, but look, the narrative changed a few times over the last few weeks, like you guys highlighted, and so have several others. I think there's been a lot of good, appropriate commentary from a lot of different people. You highlighted some of those people as well. I thought that the podcast between Dan and Carlos was pretty well done, and I thought that the one that was on Junk Wax Heroes podcast was also appropriate. And this is a big problem, and this has honestly been eye-opening is probably the wrong word. Maybe that's the right phrase. I don't know. But you certainly know that this stuff's going on, but the scale is it's got me concerned about it. But I don't know why anybody would take seriously, like, why would I be shill bidding Pistons cards? And I even posted in the next, on my Instagram stories today, a screenshot of the last, since 2023, of all my bids on Fanatics Collect. eBay will only show your bids going back 90 days. But if anybody believes that I shill bid a certain low-end Pistons card, I will gladly show whether or not I bid on that on eBay or whatever site they think that's going on. I've been back in the hobby since 2019. I collect a whole bunch of different stuff. The irony is that I actually haven't bought very many Pistons cards in the last few years. My Instagram account actually says that my Drummond PC is mostly closed, other than like maybe a few one-to-ones I was looking for. So I've been buying like Star Wars cards. I've gotten into Star Wars Unlimited. I buy a lot of baseball, Tigers stuff from this year, last year. And that's about it. And I've got my wall of cards, some of which you can see behind me, like all around in my office, a lot of different miscellaneous stuff. And I don't really know what made Patrick kind of go crazy after me. I wish, honestly, my request was that he would admit that that was not true so that people can stop talking about it. But at the same time, I've had a lot of people who know me message me and say, like, this is ridiculous. So that's my 2 cents.
What's your, I mean, you don't have to get into it if you can't, but like, what's your relationship with P. Ryan? It seems to me like, like something like this, there has to have been some kind of, like he didn't get on there and was like, Colin is shill bidding Los Angeles Laker cards. That would have just been absurd on his face. I probably would have ignored it.
Yeah.
So like, I'm just wondering, like, how did we get to this moment? I understand the surrounding circumstances and maybe he's got some stuff going on. All that is understandable. Yeah. But how did he get to the moment where he typed out a relatively detailed post about shill bidding on Detroit Pistons cards? How did we get to the point where he lays that out and kind of puts you in that situation? Is there past history? Like what led us to this point?
So my history with Patrick is, I think he got onto Instagram maybe like 2021, 22-ish, something like that. I remember we were still, SCI was still in a different office downtown Atlanta before we had moved. And initially Patrick was pretty vocally critical of Jeff, as I'm aware many others are. He was somewhat critical of certain things that I did on videos, or, I had just started doing content on the Market Movers channel. I think even back at that time, he may have just like wanted me to make more disclaimers about some of the like card chart analysis and stuff that I was doing. And there was a lot of conversation back then about that. And I tried to be really transparent about that. And still to this day, anytime I talk about a card in Market Movers that I have or that I'm assessing, I say whether or not I own a copy or not, or if I'm planning to buy one or not. I try to be very transparent about that. But I kind of got to know him loosely through that. And then at some point he like changed his tune on Jeff and became more friendly with him and made an apology and got to know him, as have many others. And they got connected, and Jeff went out to his house in Houston and did a big, video showcasing his collection, which was obviously very impressive. They did a big deal at the National this year. And my interaction with Patrick has been mostly casual through social media, but occasionally he would like put me on blast on his Instagram story. And I finally DM'd him and just said, like, dude, if you have any questions or concerns, just hit me up first. Just message me. Like, we can chat, whatever. I think at one point I might have even had his cell phone number before he shared it with the whole world this weekend. I just told him, like, I'm pretty transparent. Like, I'm an open book. I don't hide things. I have a really strong faith, beliefs. And I'm not a bad dude. I have 5 kids. I work my ass off. Like, that's it. I'm trying to pay for my family and take care of and raise good kids and good human beings. And I don't know. Something set him off, probably because Jeff said he wasn't going to take cards on the table down. And, then he just kind of latched on to both of us at the same time. But
Did P. Ryan reach out to Sports Card Investor and ask to take cards on the table down?
So I've only had a chance to text with Jeff because he's been traveling over the last week, but I do know that Patrick reached out to him. To what extent, I don't have all the information about that. But I know that Patrick was making the rounds, and I think he kind of got into an exchange with Jeff, and Jeff was like, look, I think we were actually pretty reasonable, pretty charitable about the situation, and just said, we don't agree with shill bidding. And that's what I would expect. Like, if somebody else, who's a friend of mine, like, I don't know if they were friends, but like a loose, a warm hobby acquaintance, I found it was doing this, just ethically, I would feel compelled to still talk about it. I'm not going to like not talk about it because I know that person. And it was all very bang, bang. So what happened was Neo's video came out, and then it was like the day we were going to record. So it was like, okay, Jeff's like, he was flying in. He's like, I don't even have time to like reach out to Patrick, find out what the heck's going on here. But like you guys said, it was all out in the open on Dr. Beckett's podcast. Like, nobody put words in his mouth. Those two guys said what they said. And then they even kind of doubled down and tripled down throughout the podcast. I didn't make anything up, unlike what's being levied against me, which is completely made up, which there were no screenshots given. There was no nothing. If he wanted to like white out a text number or something and put it up there that somebody had reached out to him, he could have done that. And the reason he didn't do it is because it's not real. So I don't know why he put in, whatever he said about like, oh, for $500, your friends will rat you out or what. Honestly, and I'm not trying to project onto Patrick. Like I said, I don't know what was going on. Seemed like a low moment for him maybe on Sunday, because by the morning, all those posts were taken down about me, about Jeff, and he had replaced it with 21 Instagram story posts about, apologies and whatever. Unfortunately, none of those was an apology to me after like putting something out there. So I don't know. I don't know if he was, inebriated or just really depressed or what.
He mentioned in his post about another Pistons super collector.
Yeah.
Is there kind of a community of Pistons super collectors? Do you guys talk about cards and bidding on cards, or does that community exist, or I
have an Instagram chat of, I don't know if it's called Pistons Collectors I think it's called Pistons Collectors. There's like 7 guys in there. And actually this last year, so I actually took a hiatus off Instagram for probably 6, 7, 8 months this last year. And I got back on in the last few months, unfortunately. I'm regretting it.
Why did you take a hiatus real quick?
I just got sick of it. Like I said, I have 5 kids. I work a lot, honestly. Like even tonight I was trying to get some work done. So basically my schedule is get up in the morning, spend a little time with my kids, work, come home, 6 o'clock, either if I'm in the office, I'm fighting traffic. Otherwise I'm here probably working till 6 at my desk, have a few hours with my kids. They go to bed. And then either I spend some time with my wife or I do more work. Like that's kind of my schedule. So it's busy. So I was off Instagram for a while. And because of that, like even that Pistons group on Instagram was pretty dead. There's one guy, Calder Collector, who, who's on Instagram, who like I stay in more close contact. We're both from Grand Rapids originally. He's still there. I used to live there. I just sold him a bunch of like ComC type, like literally like $1 cards, $2 cards, and some other stuff. Just like private transactions, sold it to him. But like, there's no, hey man, can you prop up my Pistons? I don't even think that's a thing. Like if a card's under $20, there's enough volume happening that like a single transaction is not going to impact anything. So the whole thing is kind of obviously ridiculous.
I guess, could any of those 7 people maybe in that group reach out to P. Ryan? Like could this have been something maybe that happened a long time ago? Like you said, he kind of been out of the game and haven't been bidding on cards. Maybe this is something that happened several years ago. Like, is it possible that being in this group chat that maybe it sounds like somebody reached out to P. Ryan. I don't know if you got that gist in the post.
That's what he said, but like, that doesn't make sense. Like, why wouldn't he show whatever that was, just like white out the number and show it, which still could be a doctored image or other things, but all I can say is like, from my perspective, and people can choose whether or not they believe me or not. No, like I've never colluded with anybody to say, hey, can you prop up my card price here or make a bid or anything along those lines. And I think I've only been in that group chat since I want to say 2022. So like I was still 2019, 2021 back in the hobby. I don't know.
And are there other group chats, or like how many group chats are we talking about? Or is
That's
it
it.
just this
I'm
one?
just, as far as like Pistons cards, that's the only group I'm in. It's just
But
some guys from-
I guess, are there other card related chats, or that maybe you texting about something might be interpreted some way and it gets sent over to P. Ryan?
I have a group chat with the guys that I do spitballing cards with, and we talk about baseball cards. Three of the guys don't even collect basketball cards. The only one who does is Jeff, a different Jeff, Jeff. And he's a Bucks fan. So like there'd be nothing in there. I haven't been active in the Sports Card Investor Discord for like 5 years. We just opened up a spitballing cards Discord. It's a baseball Discord. Like there's nothing about Pistons cards. I haven't been buying like any. I'm trying to think of the last Pistons card that I actually bought. I don't even know what it is. So they're just on my wall, like sitting here. Like I kind of have the stuff that I want. I have my going to work Pistons in a row and other stuff, and that's it.
What is the most expensive card that you have, or the most you've ever bid on a card at auction?
The two most expensive Pistons cards I have. One I actually just sent. So I bought Drummond's Prism 2012 Prism Gold in a BGS 10 3 years ago. It was a little over 2K if I remember correctly. I actually just sent a bunch of my one of ones, and I made a video about this, so it was like very transparent. It's on the Market Movers channel. I made a video about how I was sending a lot of my collection to Fanatics, and my plan with those is I've been buying more high-end Grant Hill cards. So this was a big purchase I made from Cards HQ. It's essential credentials. So that's my biggest Grant Hill card. That's my other like biggest card in my collection. But I said I'm like kind of going through a process, some consolidation, some more curation than anything. And it was fun. It's been fun being a big Drummond super collector, but I also think about my kids. I'm probably going to like put some of it back into Barry Sanders. And over the years, I have fun chasing things down. And then over time, I just kind of curate it and I'll sell some of it. Most of the deals I've done, honestly, in the last year and a half has been like selling stuff to Cards HQ. And I'll take like some store credit, and then I take the other part in cash and I put it toward new windows, which I have behind me, and other things in my house. And it's just like everybody, like anybody with what they do with their hobby. It's not any kind of like a racket. Like I haven't gotten a 1099 for selling cards. Like I just don't do a lot of
you seem to be pretty involved with the Market Movers app. Is this shill bidding and manipulating bids on cards? Is this something you've heard about or seen in the data, or what are your thoughts on how big a problem this might be given your kind of stance in the hobby?
Yeah. I think more and more, it seems to be a huge problem. And I was listening to Professor Sports Cards earlier tonight when Jeremy Lee was on there talking about a book that he's writing and an appendix that's going to be talking about the terms and conditions of every auction house, from the biggest ones down to the smallest, and kind of his analysis of that and which ones allow shill bidding, like outright, like even just say you can bid on your own items, down to the ones that have it like on lockdown. So maybe I'm a little naive to it. Like, something I should clarify, like this is not a normal card. Like this was me consolidating a lot of cards into other things. And honestly, like with 5 kids, I even have some scruples about owning cards like this. That's why I'm moving some of the stuff and trying to sell things. Normally the cards that I buy are like in the $20 to $200 range. And I kind of curate that. And that's like the stuff that goes up on my wall. And I have a lot of stuff in one touches that's lower than that. But when it comes to like Market Movers and shill bidding, similar to Card Ladder, we go through like outliers every day, exclusions, sales data that comes in. And we have a huge database now of over 6 million cards that we track pricing on every day. Like my team writes the queries, we match transactions, and then in sort of a tiered, stratified outliers, we look at like ones that just don't seem right, whether high or low, to try to make sure that it's the right card. And a lot of them you see, it's just somebody had a bad eBay title, other things. But if we just see where the chart is like, like that, and it hits our outliers, then my team goes out to eBay. They'll look at the bid history. They click into it. They try to see, is it a zero, feedback, a bidder? Is there anything going on? Obviously, there's steps you can take to kind of look into that. How much did this person bid only with this particular account? All that type of stuff. And if we think that it's a bad sale, then we remove it from the chart. Or if it's just clearly an outlier or something else like that, we remove it from the chart. The other thing I always encourage people to do, and some people do this, who know that I, have access to the database for market movers, is like, if they themselves were shill bid or something, happened that they're directly aware of, on their own listing on eBay or something to that effect, then I just say, hey, let me know. We'll remove the sale if it's pretty obviously a bad sale.
So would you say the problem with shill bidding is it across when you're seeing it specifically with the data, is it happening across all price levels of cards?
It's harder to gauge at low dollar because the volume's so high. Like if you were to put track a curve of like sales volume and the number of sales, like this on the y-axis, and then the dollars, it's like this, right? Like 95% of transactions are like $30 and less on eBay, at least. Other platforms are significantly different. They don't do that low volume, but I don't know why anybody would bid on, like, I don't want to say I don't know why anybody wouldn't shill bid low dollar cards. Like if you're really hurting for money and you're just like operating on a low budget, then fine, but that's not me. Like I'm just trying to be like fiscally responsible with what I have for my family, but I don't need to shill bid $20.
You're willing to share your bid history or have some independent, Dan the Card Man or Auburn 35 go through your bid history and look and just see if anything.
Yeah, I shared it on my story today. Like I literally screen recorded my bid history on Instagram and put it up on my story. So like, which is already like kind of BS that I have to do that. But like, I'm trying to just say like, look, now that only goes back so far. So if Patrick were to be like, well, it was from 2020, like, I don't know. I have a new phone. Like I don't even have text or anything from back then. So.
Right. So I was going to ask, you didn't delete any text those old group texts. Like how does that all work? Like, have you deleted that off your phone, the group chat text messages, or how does that work?
Well, I don't have a group chat. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't even know what he would be referring to.
The Pistons, the one with the Pistons collector. What is that
Instagram
platform?
That's all on Instagram.
Okay.
And that goes back all the way to the beginning. Yeah.
And that group's still active is what you're saying.
And in fact, I like went into that Instagram chat just to I searched for the word bid and like shill and other, just was there chatter about this in the past? Did I somehow get implicated in some, just to make sure? It's been, 3-4 years or whatever. It literally went all the way back to the beginning. I don't know.
Did any of the people in the group chat reach out to you?
Nobody has.
No. And when was the last time you've talked to P. Ryan specifically, like either on chat or by any kind of contact with him? When would you say the last time that was?
Well, unless he's blocked me now on Instagram, because I tried to tag. Well, he says he's off of it right now, but let me see when the last Instagram message I had was from him. And he said nice things to me. This is great. He actually brought me I ran into him at Fanatics Fest, and he gave me an old kind of oversized LK line with an auto on it. It's pretty nice. We've been friendly ever since I kind of cleared the air with him, a few years ago when he was just not talking to me before blowing me up. I was I'm a real person, man. Just reach out, whatever. I'm busy as heck, but I will try to do my best to get to you. So my last message from him is on August 27, 2025. So this year. It was about, he posted onto his Instagram story that he noticed that Burbank was back on eBay with all their listings. And I responded and said, I don't think they ever came off of it. Checked multiple times over the past year, and they've always had millions of listings. Did you ever notice their shop inactive? It's possible I missed it, but I checked every few months because they were supposed to go over to Fanatics exclusively. That was announced. He said they were 100% were off eBay. I know they are one of the best sources for buying cards for signings. And then I just sent him a picture of an exquisite Chauncey Billups patch auto that was listed both on eBay as well as on Fanatics at the same time, which I thought was interesting. I didn't, I know people omni-channel list things, but he just said they clearly needed to end their exclusive aspect of their Fanatics deal. So I think he was trying to figure out did something go afoul there? And that is the last interaction that I've had with Patrick other than this. Now, what's kind of ironic in all of this is I try not to act in a too knee-jerk of a manner with things. I try to really think about things. I pray about things. I contemplate. I don't like to be rash, okay? And when all this went down last week and Neo released the clip, and then I listened to Dr. Beckett's full, both parts of the interview. We did cards on the table. I tried to be measured and reasonable. I actually had recorded like on my phone, like a voice message with like, Apple voice message, voice memos, a message to Patrick, and like wanted to sleep on it. Was like considering, do I send this to him? Do I not? And then I found out he was like going on a whirlwind tour, like threatening people. And I just thought, I'm not going to poke the bear. And the message was one of like, more or less like, hey, it seems like you made a really big mistake. And you just need to admit it. Like, admit you made a really big mistake. And if you can, prove that it was just one mistake. Like I'm doing right now. I'm saying, like, I'm willing to show my bid history. It wouldn't be that hard for him to open up the Fanatics app, do the same thing I did and post it on my Instagram story today, and just screen record the items that he bid on. Unfortunately, the Fanatics app, at least not that I could see, doesn't show how many times you bid on an individual item. It just shows you bid on it. That would be telling too. Like, did you accidentally click it once, or did you bid many times?
And how much?
And how much? But he apparently had it wouldn't be hard if he wanted to completely exonerate himself and say this was just one-time mistake that I accidentally bid on an item. All he'd have to do is show the specific items on a spreadsheet or whatever that he sent to acquire, and then show his screen whether or not he bid on those items.
Correct. On the desktop, it'll show. On desktop, it'll show the bid history. Right.
Like I'm being accused of something far less serious than what he did, and with no substance to it. But if I were him and I had literally admitted it and accident went out this whole like kind of tour of trying to like rationalize it and everything, I would just go like, guys, look, like I accidentally made a mistake. Here's all my bid history. Here's what went to acquire. I want to be free and clear of this. I won't do it again, but that didn't happen.
This is hard probably for you to answer, to put you in P. Ryan's head, but do you think he went after you because he kind of just wants to go after Jeff?
I think so. Yeah. Professor Sports Cards recently did a tier ranking of not all, but like a lot of content, sports card content creators. And I caught the tail end where he was hanging out till the last minute and then said, and here's T-Pott. I don't really know him. He seems like he might kind of be in the B tier, but we're putting him in F, guilty by association. Right. So,
brutal.
So I think, look, I know who I work for, and I know you guys, I know there's tension and everything. And a lot of people love him or hate him. We'll say about Jeff. I like working for Jeff. Jeff's been very good to me. I moved to Atlanta to continue to work for Jeff. I moved my family here. I enjoy working for him. I believe him when he says he didn't shill bid. If that's all I can say about it. Right. So I do think other people just automatically, they don't know me as well, right? Or maybe they don't even know that I do videos every week on the Market Movers channel and like very different educational content and lots of things. Maybe they don't know I do spitballing cards with the 4 other guys. They don't know anything about me. And that's kind of the internet, right? Is you just make assumptions, and it's a tough thing not to do. But Jeff would say it too. Like, he and I are very, very different people and kind of a yin yang. And I think it's good for the brand to have that balance. And he's more of a showman and I'm more of a level-headed. I don't know what the right phrase is, but.
So you don't have, not to get you fired, but you don't have any knowledge of Jeff shill bidding a card or the Curry or what's the deal?
No,
nothing.
No. I mean, Jeff was pretty, like, obviously he was pretty adamant when we did the cards on the table saying he never did that. And it's like one of those things where it's like Shutter Island. Like, once you're declared crazy, you say I'm not crazy. It's just proof you're crazy. But who would admit they're crazy? Like, you're just screwed. Like, at that point. And that's what I feel like I'm in right now. And I'm sure Jeff does too. It's like, you did this thing. Okay, show me the receipts. And I wish more people, yourselves, everybody, would just say, let's be reasonable. If there's no receipts, this is just literally somebody who's literally on a bender, backed into a corner, deflecting and putting it onto somebody else. And that's a pretty obvious like tactic that people use.
I think I probably would feel that way. I've had a pretty long history with P. Ryan, so it's a little different for me because I've always actually seen P. Ryan as a pretty measured guy. He sometimes will give his opinion, but he's very buttoned up in corporate, and he has this big kind of ticketing business. And
I agree.
And
yeah,
and whatnot. Where did Jeff get the Curry card that he flexed? Where did that card come from?
That might have been the one he got at Fanatics Collect from somebody. I think he
bought it at a show.
I think so.
At a show.
But I think he had 2 different ones. I think he had the red and an orange. So I can't remember. I think he may have gotten them both at shows. I don't know.
The red is numbered to, do you know?
Or maybe it was an orange to 5. Well, no,
orange
it's the
to 5.
The orange is to 5. Maybe he had an orange and a gold. I think he had 2 of them. One wasn't to 5. I think.
And then what happened to the other one? What happened to the other?
I don't know.
What happened
he
to
might
the
still have it. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. But
No.
how long has he had the Curry card? Do you know?
I think it was just from Fanatics Fest. I think he
From
picked it. I think some guy
Fanatics
came
Fest.
there. And I think it was in a video. I think the negotiation was in an SCI video. If
Okay.
that's the one, then if you go back to the Fanatics Fest coverage, then he like negotiated with the guy, and they kind of got to a point where he was like, okay, I think, you know, he might have even talked about like, oh, I don't know about the condition. Is it a 9? Is it a 10?
How much did he pay for it? How much did he pay for it? Do you know?
I don't know. You'd have to go to the
Oh,
video.
okay.
Not sure.
Okay, perfect. I didn't know there was a video. I fucking would have watched. That's totally my bad. What would you say to P. Ryan? Like he's probably watching. What would you say to P. Ryan?
Well, first of all, I would say to Patrick, like, I'm really sorry about your mom, and I'm legitimately praying for both of you. Like, that sucks. It sounds like there was an accident I saw from his story, and the truest thing I've seen from Patrick over the last couple of weeks that I know is true is like, you never know what's going on with somebody else and the things that they might be going through or what they've been through in their lives. And that's something I'm really big on, is perspective. So that's one thing I would just say is like, I have a measure of sympathy for that. But the other thing I would say is, please, you put up a bunch of apologies about things, do the right thing and admit that that I didn't shill bid and that was made up, because it is made up. I have never shill bid on anything, and I don't know why he did it, but it would mean a lot if he would issue a statement, get back onto Instagram, I guess, and break his, resolution to be off for now, or send me a text message, because I do believe he has my number, and say, hey, like, I'm sorry I did that, and it, whatever, and I'll say it's fine if you post this on Instagram, with the number associated with it. And other than that, I would say, you need to do some reflecting and just be honest. Just open up and be honest about what's gone on. And this is from my perspective, the only reason I can think that somebody wouldn't be honest, like wouldn't just show the receipts, so to speak. Some people are saying show the bids and whatever, is if there's something to hide. That's all I would say. So, but I agree with you. Like, maybe you've had more of a relationship with Patrick than I have. Like I said, I just interacted on Instagram and things, and occasionally sent him messages or commented on his posts and things. I was surprised. Like I said, I was more surprised with Dr. Beckett, because I think people largely have him on their like hobby Mount Rushmore as like untouchable figures. He's a grandfather of the hobby for many of us. And that, if you go back to what I said on Cards on the Table, like I even tried to isolate it from that and say, this is one point. And I don't believe in like single point of dispute cancel culture. I think more of us need to be able to have conversations about things, even when we disagree. I'm not like totally liberal in that sense of like, just, open everything, but like have conversations with people, have the courage to do that. I come on here, it's 11:37 my time now. I got to get up in the morning and get back at it. But, yeah, I just would say like something happened here. I think Dr. Beckett should do the same thing, clear the air and do some things. And not that I know of, Ziggy. Sorry, I'm just seeing the comment that just popped up. As far as I know, it's on the up and up. The last two I've got have been absolute shite. So I don't know.
For the record, I hope fucking you guys get so many sponsorships and you get that 7-figure bag. Because guess what? If you got a 7-figure bag, I bet Get Sports Card Radio could probably get like a $250,000 bag. So fucking Arena Club, Golden, eBay, fucking PSA. Let's start sponsoring some of these fucking sports card channels, you fucking motherfuckers, making all this money from this shill bidding shit. Let's start sponsoring some of these motherfuckers. Let's start putting some money in these motherfuckers' pocket. I'm being dead serious too. Let's start putting some money in these people's pockets, or I'll start sponsoring some shit and you guys won't want to see the commercials I create. So you big companies out here are sitting here and the bid history on this shit. You guys know the fucking bid. You guys know what's going on. And you guys just sit there and just fucking count your money and sometimes brag about it. Let's start putting some money. Who fucking cares if Arena Club sponsors anybody? Side tangent. Who fucking cares? Maybe someday you'll get some of that money, Ziggy. But T-Pott, Jeff's coming on next, right? When's Jeff coming on in 10 minutes, right?
I don't know. He was he was up doing a video for I think he was up doing a video for a consignment company or something today in Delaware, I think. So
I say text Jeff, have him come on. Let's talk about the PPP and the fucking and the Curry card, which I think we'll get into a little bit. Colin, did you have anything you want to talk about T-Pott?
We also need to talk about the Rolexes, because he constantly says they're fake. Here's what I'll do is that I have put $100,000 bounty on that. If Jeff wants to do it, I'll put the $100,000 bounty up if he puts the 100,000 up, and whoever's right. T-Pott says he has 5 kids. We'll split it 5 ways and we'll go 20 across the 5. If my Rolexes are fake, I'll drop 20K in 5 different Schwab accounts. If they're real, Jeff puts 20K in all of T-Pott's kids' accounts. So maybe we can get T-Pot to broker the deal here. I think this would be epic content.
So
I'll
free
fly
rolls for
myself
20K.
out to.
Now I'm going to get
I'll
accused of being bribed on top of this.
It's not a bribe.
Here.
It's a reward to get SEI
Christmas bonus.
and SER together. I'll get on a plane. I'll fly my ass out to Atlanta, Georgia, which is a place I don't really want to go unless the Masters is happening. So maybe we schedule this right around April. I can cruise in, hit a practice round. We can go to a boutique. We can settle this argument, and whoever is right or wrong can pull a couple of dollars out of his pocket. We can take care of the 5 kids, and then we can continue the discussion around arena clubs and slab packs and shill bidding and all this type of stuff, and Detroit Pistons cards, which I didn't even know people still bid on. But we'll I think we can really create some epic content, settle some long standing beefs, and move forward in this hobby. I think it'd be a beautiful day.
Hey, I'm surprised my wife didn't just wake up hearing Schwab accounts for the kids. So
There it is.
There we go. Well, I mean, yeah, let's
go.
we can all just sit down, have dinner, and just hash it out and see what happens. It'll be a beautiful
And
beautiful
live stream
time
it,
in Georgia.
We'll live stream it.
I'm gonna get them meta glasses and we'll just film it. It's like that'd be fantastic. I think it'll just be epic content. The fans want to see it. I mean, I think that would put us in the A tier of Professor Sports Cards thing. We'd get T-Pot out of the whatever the tier
out
he
of
was
the F
in.
tier.
Yeah,
Get
yo.
And look, T-Pot, I'll just say it. I know it's late. We'll get you going here. I've got kids too, so I understand. I don't consume a ton of sports card content. I've seen your stuff in passing. What I would say is it's well produced. It's and what I respect is somebody that's done a lot of YouTube. The thumbnails are very well done. The titles are very well done. A lot of people think that you just do YouTube videos, and you can if you're lazy like us. We just come on here and we do it. But if you want to make it a business and you want to structure things in a certain way, the way I don't know how deeply you're involved in these types of things, but you're on the video and you're part of the execution. And what I would say is, out of everybody, like if we want to put an A, S tier, F tier of the hobby, who executes it at the highest level, you guys are at the highest level in terms of the packaging of the video, the title, the thumbnail. And that's the hard part. It's not hard to turn on a camera and say, hey, look at this picture of a man. It just went up. Anybody can do that to a certain degree. But to do all the extra stuff, I think the talent level and the execution is very, very good. It's probably not something that people really recognize, but that is why obviously there's a fair amount of success around your content and the stuff you guys do. And so I appreciate it from that level, not necessarily content I consume on a regular basis, but just in terms of the packaging and the presentation and the execution of it. I would say it's at least the one of the highest in the industry, if not the highest industry. And so, like Ryan was saying, I know that we have arena clubs and the new people, that are launching a business, they come into the industry and they sponsor you guys and you guys get a couple of bucks. But what we're seeing in the semiconductor world is there's this huge amount of circular financing, with NVIDIA taking money out of their pocket and go giving it to CoreWeave or go giving it to Oracle. We could have the same thing in this community. Maybe not from the eBays, maybe not from the big giant guys, but the tier lower than that, these guys can pull money out of their pocket and have a little bit more circular financing. So you guys can continue to do the content you do. And then maybe your kids have a little bit more padding. So your wife is happy at night and they've got a little bit more padding in the Schwab account that we don't have to go get from Jeff because the Rolexes are real. So I just wanted to say that. I don't know if you have any closing words.
Sure. That's all of our video. We have a very good video team, really talented, great guys to work with. I do a little Monday morning huddle every week with our head of video at SCI to just kind of brainstorm ideas and how do we want to do this. And he'll tell me like, I don't think there's enough there to like make an episode and that type of thing. So we just brainstorm it and concept it out. And then whatever the video is, whether it's like educational or it's in the shop or it's a, what would I call a data dive using market movers, showing charts, whatever it is, I do all the prep and we record it, and then somebody edits it and they choose the title. Usually I don't have an input on it. I might just say something to the effect of like, please use, conditional terms like could, not will, if it's like about cards going up or something, yeah, we have a really, really good video team. Awesome. Unbelievably committed and always perfecting their craft. And so I can't take any of the credit for that.
Well, you're part of the execution, and I think there's many people in the chat that are supportive, and it's not necessarily your crowd. You kind of rocked into the road arena, and to have people essentially cheering you in the road arena, probably not everybody can accomplish that. So I would take that as a win. And I know it's not been maybe the best week from an Instagram and a social media perspective, but I think you can walk away tonight and say, I got a win on the Sports Card Radio Live for whatever that's worth.
Sounds good. I appreciate you guys letting me on.
And T-Pott, if P. Ryan came out with some text or whatever, some evidence, would you come back on and talk about it in case he comes up with something? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I will. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, T-Pott.
At Drummond Card Collector. Follow me. I don't know if I'll be on there much, but you can message me there.
Fair enough. We will do that. Thank you very much for coming on. Have a great night. Take care of those kids, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Thanks, guys. See you.
Okay, I love it.
T-Pott calling in, Ryan.
T-Pott calling in.
Touched on a good amount of subjects. I think we could have gotten into some harder hitting discussion, but it wasn't really about that. It was more about, like you said, this guy got sideswiped in this, this P. Ryan bus going down full speed down the highway. And I'm still not. I'm still not really sure what to think about all this. I think he did come across extremely honest, and
I think he generally does too.
Know.
I think T-Pott in general, I think he generally comes off as honest. I think that's why it was a little surprising to see him in here. And I remember when we were talking about this a couple of days ago, I was like, I think he was kind of joking about T-Pott or whatever. But then I didn't really dive deep into the second post, which does kind of say that maybe P. Ryan talked to somebody. Again, P. Ryan's my belief is that he will. P. Ryan's not walking away from the hobby. Like this I don't believe this ends here. P. Ryan is going to, in some form or fashion, maybe on Sports Card Radio, is going to show whatever evidence he has. Now, he made similar, again, allegations against Jeff Wilson. I did ask T-Pott about where did the curry come from? I think what's happening with this curry is this is a classic case of Wilson pumping a card. Here's the first curry that sold in May. The 3 of 5 sold for $30,000. Then this is like if you want to manipulate the market and you have the 1 to 5, or you have whatever, any of these ones, I guess. There's multiple parallels. You manipulate the 1 of 1. And I'm not saying this was manipulated, but if you were going to manipulate a market to the upside, we actually haven't talked about, these guys never manipulate the market to the downside, which is, to me,
seems to me that's what you'd want to do.
That's what you'd want to do. But again, I don't want to sidetrack us, but I was thinking about that today. Like when I'm buying tickets, I'm trying to fucking manipulate the Giants Packers market to the fucking downside. I'm trying to lower the price 10% on Tuesday so that I could sell it on Saturday. But this card shit is weird because it's all based on comps. So that's why the 1 of 1, what it sells for is very important. If you want to manipulate the value, and this is why did Shine or bid on this card? Is this what P. Ryan says? Jeff Wilson paid Shine to bid on his curry. When he says his curry, I don't think he means That's why I said, where did Jeff Wilson get his? I don't think he meant, and Jeff Wilson, hasn't sold his unless I guess apparently there was another one. I think what P. Ryan could have meant his Curry, meaning this Curry. And so S maybe placed a bid on this card to raise the value of the Currys. Then what happened? So this fucker, so it starts at, the orange starts at 30. Then a month later, the 1 of 1 sells for 5. Then the fucking, get yours ready to sell. 2 months later, about a month and a half later, another orange sells, not Jeff's, a different one, sells for 80. 50,000 more than the one a few months ago.
Okay. So this Curry card sells for 30 PSA 30. 10. Then you're thinking the big one comes up, and then you're thinking
this is the one you manipulate. This is where you manipulate the market. Is right fucking here. Because then it automatically makes, then you send the card to Golden. Boom. Here you go. Now you're at 80. And then Jeff is in a unique position where he can fucking pump this shit on his network, right? So if you if you had the card to 5, you boost the value of the 1 of 1 and you promote the sale as much as possible, which Jeff did. He posted on Instagram this sale right here. Jeff has 1 or 2 copies at this point. Again, I'm not saying any of this is illegal or illicit or fucking, I'd probably do the same fucking thing with cards or tickets or anything. He's pumping the value of his shit. Now, did illicit bids get placed? We don't know. Again, Golden or one of these other auction houses could clear that up in a hot minute, but they decide not to. So here's the timeline. 5/15, the first Curry sell that I could find sells for 30K. The 1 of 1 version a month later sells for 500K. Then another orange version sells for 85K. And then a month later, Jeff starts flexing. Hey guys, look what I got. Because he probably thinks his is going to be worth 100 or 120. That's his anticipation, is my guess. And again, I'm not saying any of this is illegal or this isn't even shill bidding. What I'm describing to you is how these guys play this stuff to the fucking upside. And if you were to manipulate an auction, in my opinion, it would be this one, because this is the one that gets posted on tops. This is the one that then raises the value of all the underlying cards underneath it. So this is when you fucking dorks out there, probably half of you guys watching on Instagram, some record sale comes in before the fucking HCH fucking clears. Before the bank wire even clears, you dorks are talking about a new record. This card hadn't even been paid for yet. Who knows if the check clears on this? Card Ladder post it, Market Mover post. Everybody runs to fucking, somebody paid $500,000. We can't find usually when you buy something for $500,000, maybe there's a flex post somewhere on Instagram, and maybe there is for this particular card. But if you're going to pump the market, you pump the shit out of this. So Shine or whoever you could play, or a fake account, whatever, you pump the shit out of this, raises the value of all the underlying cards. You use your clout in the industry to pump the fact that, hey, this card's $500,000. Nowhere in here does he say that he owns a copy. I think that's kind of interesting. Maybe he doesn't at June 16th. We talked about how he got one of the copies at Fanatics Fest. Maybe this sparked his interest in the card. But this, to me, is how you would pump.
Here's how I think it goes, is if we want to go down the rabbit hole of how this stuff works, and I'm pretty confident this is how it works, based on the information that we've been accumulating in this hobby for a period of time, is it is known within the industry, if you're deep into the weeds of this stuff, let's just use this Curry card as an example. It is known when that card hits the grade that is going to make it a $500,000 or, a couple $100,000 card. It is known that that card is on the market because that card is shopped around to the same 10 people that buy those types of cards. If it's Curry, I know one. I know like a super big, rich Curry collector. It's probably sent to him. It's probably sent to a handful of other guys that buy Curry. There's the same market for Jordan. There's the same market for high-end whatever. It's the same 10, 15, 20 people. Shine knows them all. Okay, so like he knows. Right. So they know when these cards are about to come to market. So if you understood how that worked, it's like, okay, wow, cool. The market in this single card is going to blast off because we have a PSA 10 and whether the sale is done under the table and we talk about how big it was, or we put it in a golden premier auction, that obviously all takes time. So in the background, the Jeff Wilsons, the P. Ryans, whoever you want to say, they're going out there and they're scooping the ones out of 5, scooping the ones out of 10, and prepping those to go off after the record $500,000 sale goes off. So is that manipulation? Is that shady? I don't necessarily think it's manipulation necessarily on from a criminal level.
No.
And like you referenced, Jeff Wilson has a platform. And so he uses the platform to highlight, oh, there's this record sale. And this is all a coordinated effort to highlight a record sale to then support the cards that he has been prepping to then get auctioned off after this. And Jeff has gone through this in his videos, not this necessarily scenario, but he's talked about it. It's the same scenario. You think the Eagles are going to go to the Super Bowl and win. And so you prep and start buying Eagles players in November. You think Luka Doncic is finally going to win a title and lose some weight. So you start buying his cards now. So when the Lakers win the title in June, you can sell your Luka Doncic cards for a profit. And so, and that's more or less, I think, how the industry has worked for a long period of time. I think it's gotten to, could we call it maybe a slightly more sophistication level, because you have slightly more dollars flowing around this stuff. You also have social media disseminating this information of the prices. And then, like we've referenced a few times here on the show, comps are now, I mean, the Beckett price guide was like a thing. Comps have an even larger
Way
impact
bigger
on the hobby these days, not only from an end buyer perspective. You go to a card show, it's all about the comp. You go to the repack. It's literally, the repack is structured around the comp. And so if you can plan and manipulate around the comp, it's not around the hobby. It's not around if Curry is going to make a shot or if Curry's going to win a title anymore. Like, we've gotten past that. And so we've graduated for Jeff. If you watch Jeff's early videos, it's, I think Will Grier is going to be a 4 times better investment than Kyler Murray. And that was based on some stupid statistics that he conjured up in his brain. And clearly it wasn't accurate. We've gotten around that. And Jeff has graduated out of kindergarten and now he's in 7th or 8th grade. And he's realized it doesn't really matter if Curry makes a shot or not. It doesn't really matter if Luka Doncic is 280 pounds or 220 pounds, or he plays for the Lakers or the Mavericks and he doesn't win titles. None of that really matters. What it matters is manipulating the comp. If you can manipulate the comp, now you have complete control of the market. And so one would have to say, oh, does somebody that has a stake in manipulating the comp, because I think we can all agree, even Jeff's biggest dick-sucking fan out there can agree that Jeff has a stake in manipulating the comp. Does a guy that has a stake in manipulating the comp that also controls one of the websites that tracks comps, is that a conflict of interest?
Probably not a legal one, but maybe just within the talking heads in the hobby, guys like us, you could point to that it is weird, that it's weird that Dr. Beckett was the fucking godfather of prices. And he's over here talking about, oh yeah, I shill bid all the time. It's like, holy shit. No wonder that company went to shit. Jeff has reacted to the accusations a couple different times. And when he's responding to us on social media, boy, this is serious. He says, this is yesterday, I believe this all blew up. He says, sorry to disappoint you guys, but absolutely no truth to this at all. I am mystified as you are about his posts, which are now deleted. If GW is truly me and he has any evidence, I'd sure love to see it. And then I quip. I say, this is me here. I say, I'd suggest suing him, P. Ryan, but we know you won't actually do that. I thought that was kind of funny. Jeff responds. He obviously doesn't know that we're twins and can't tell us apart. He says, it's only worth suing people with a positive net worth. Yours wasn't. I like how he says that in the past tense, because if you recomp my net worth now, oh boy, I'm like that $500,000 Curry car. Boy, I'm fucking, I got max bids. He says repossessing.
Your comp has risen.
My comp has fucking risen. Thank God, the fucking Dodgers and Shohei Ohtani and the fucking holy shit. Repossessing your fake Rolexes won't do a whole lot for me. Again, those aren't my Rolexes, but Colin, I will let you respond to that in a second. He says any accusation, and this is actually responding to me again as well. So Jeff, I mean, when he's responding to Sports Card Radio on social media, that this is a big deal in the households of these hobby heroes. He says and this is on Twitter, he says any accusation about me shill bidding or asking others to bid on any card is absolutely false. It's so completely made up that I shouldn't even have to defend myself. But since I know you'll attempt to make the world's biggest deal about this nonsense, god damn, he's just like backhanding me. I want to be clear that I have never done that and never will. So some very definitive statements there from Mr. Wilson. And again, I want to go back to me texting P. Ryan today. I was like, hey, what's the deal with Jeff Wilson? He says, Jeff, like all high-end sellers, has to protect his sales, but it was wrong for me to call him out. I should have called out everyone. I said, hey, why don't you? He says, oh, my friend, I may go nuclear. And I think he will at some point. All these motherfuckers have protected cards, and I have proof. I want to touch on that a minute, because we talk about types of market manipulation in sports cards. I could talk about manipulating tickets to the downside. Again, I'm curious as to why we never hear about fucking making these cards go down so you could buy them and then sell them. I don't know. Anyways, what do you mean by protecting a card's value? Let me tell you exactly what that fucking means. Probstein reportedly owns, this is an example. I'm not just giving an example of a hobby hero. Well-known hobby hero. Probstein reportedly owns 30 copies of the PSA 10, 86, 87 Fleer Michael Jordan rookie card. According to PSA, there are 331 on the Pop report. You could actually theorize that there's much lower, because stupid idiots would probably crack a PSA 10 to try to make it a BGS 9.5 back in the day, before PSA took off. So it's very possible and probably highly likely that any PSA 10 that comes up in the market, and I would say probably one a month or maybe one every 60 days comes up. And the cadence could be a little more, a little less, but I would say probably 12 to 15 of these get sold every year. I would bet every dollar that I have that one of the bidders on that card is Probstein. And he's never, as long as he's got a couple nickels in his pocket from either shill bidding or revenue from consignments, that he's never going to let the fucking value of that PSA 10 drop below a certain level. Because, hey guys, let's be one thing clear. If the PSA 10 Michael Jordan value drops, a whole bunch of other shit is going to drop, not only for Jordan, but the underlying market as well. Especially maybe vintage basketball. But Jordan is obviously a keystone, GOAT level player. And that particular card is iconic. So if that card starts to go down, that would, one, be bad for Probstein's investment, but it would also be bad for the market in general. So when P. Ryan says they protect cards, absolutely, this guy's over here setting the floor on all these cards. And you know what he's also doing? He's probably setting the floor on the 9.5s when Beckett was the shit 5-6 years ago. Other examples, the bat down PSA 10 Acuna, Brian Gray, he doesn't talk about it because those cards lost so much value, but that motherfucker had a whole warehouse full of those. He was propping that card up for a long time. That was one of the hottest cards during COVID. Well, because Brian Gray was shoving money into that. Probstein has 30 copies of the Jordan 10. He's never letting that drop below 150,000, 100 and a quarter or whatever, as long as he has a nickel to his name. Until he's ready to sell. And when he's ready to sell, he's going to pump that shit to the moon. And he's not going to dump all 30 copies off all at once. He'll come up with some unique way to get rid of those at some point. But to me, and this isn't illegal. But to me, this happens all across the market at all levels of cards. These guys prop these cards up, and then essentially, and you know what else happens? PSA stops giving PSA 10s. You could send the perfect fucking Michael Jordan card fresh out of a fucking pack that's fucking never been molested, never seen the light of fucking day, looks like a 10, smells like a 10, every fucking thing's a 10. PSA is never going to give you more 10s because now they have to protect the value of that card and the value of submitting a Michael Jordan at a lower level or putting a 10 grade on a new one. Hey, guess who probably got one of them? Colin, guess who submitted a Michael Jordan to PSA and got probably one of the last PSA 10s to ever be given? Because this number 331 hasn't budged in a while, but you know who submitted? Everybody's going to think it's Jeff Wilson. No, it's not, guys. It's our boy P. Ryan. P. Ryan literally walked into a show, bought a Jordan, allegedly, didn't have Evan Mathis trim it or press it or do whatever the fuck they do to these cards these days. Put Kurt's juice all over it. But Patrick Ryan literally submitted a raw Jordan and got a PSA 10. He's probably the last motherfucker to do that. Who gives 10s out? Who gets 10s? Yeah, that's the good old boy system right there. Only P. Ryan and those type of motherfuckers are getting a PSA 10 on an 86, 87 Fleer that they literally bought at some Houston Hobunk show for like $4K and turned it into one and a quarter for him. When's the last time P. Ryan said anything bad about PSA? Somebody should go through the tape. But that to me, these guys, and there's not that many cards where you have to do it, because if you're propping up the value of the PSA 10, well, guess what? The 9's now worth more, the 8's now worth more, right? And it goes all down the line. And then the star is worth more, and then all the other underlying Jordan shit is worth more. And so you do this with everybody. You do this with Trout until he fell off. You do this with Griffey. You do with Babe Ruth. You do with Mickey Mantle. You do with fucking anybody. The Honus Wagner card. You prop up the value of these big ones. Most of the time, they're held by these fucking, hobby overlords. PSA stops giving the 10s unless it's to a good old boy. And so good luck buying one, because you're going to have to outbid Probstein, and you could submit the perfect fucking copy and it's going to be an 8. It's going to be an 8.5. They're never giving a 10 unless it's to P. Ryan.
Buy this high end stuff stressful, Ryan.
It's very stressful, dude.
If you want to break into it, you've got to get into the good old boy network. You got to, understand that they're going to come in there and defensively shill bid their stuff. That all these guys are not going to let you get a good deal. You're going to be an idiot if you just happen to get a good deal. You've got to come in, and be buddies with fucking PSA. Got to basically buy the company or invest in the company or whatever. Like we talked about the good old boy network, and the good old boy network got broken up a little bit. Mm-hmm. And it continues to get broken up a little bit. When Fanatics came in, that broke up a huge chunk of the good old boy network. But a large position of the good old boy network still exists. It doesn't necessarily exist at the hobby shop level anymore. Doesn't necessarily exist at the breaker level anymore.
The distributor level.
Or the distributor level. It doesn't happen at kind of the Panini level, because that company's a mess. Mm-hmm. Fanatics is so big that there's some good old boy ties to Fanatics, but they have so many things going on that, and the industry has gotten larger from just a kind of a raw sales perspective, and the ambitions of Fanatics are larger than what was at Topps. I mean, we would make fun of the Topps employees, and they would come up to you at conferences with their handshaking. So, the industry has gotten larger and it's gotten more complex, but there are aspects of the Good Old Boy Network that still exist. And the Good Old Boy Networks are like cockroaches. They find the little cracks and corners where the Good Old Boy Network can still exist. And right now, the Good Old Boy Network can exist at the high-end card market because there's a gatekeep that you can have around that level of card. There's only a certain number of people that can afford those types of cards, or that's not even the way to say it, that want to afford those types of cards. And on top of that, put up with all the BS. Because if you can buy $500,000 Curry card, you could be buying $500,000 of whatever the hell you want. Like a house or a boat or a trip or 10 sugar babies, an island trip. Like you can be doing all that type of stuff. And so if you're going to be wanting to put up with the bullshit of these guys coming in there and defending their cards and having to deal with Jeff Wilson defending his cards, have to deal with the fact that Probstein and PSA has put a lockbox on the number of PSA 10 Jordans exist. So if you want to get one, you are going to have to pay up. You are not going to be able to get a Michael Jordan card for cheap. You're not going to be able to scour the country and find one. You're not going to be able to trim and Kurtz wax it and juice it to one. You couldn't even get Fleer to reincarnate itself and Michael Jordan to, bless the card being like the Pope could come and say the card's a PSA 10 and Nat Turner would say, no, it's not. And so the Good Old Boy Network can exist. It can still exist in this area of the hobby. But what we've seen is this now controls a little bit of the comp market. And this kind of goes to what we talked about at the top. This isn't a hobby for these guys. This isn't about the sports. It's not about being a collector. It's about control. It's about control for these guys. That is why they send the threats, the lawsuit threats. That's why when Jeff Wilson talks to us, he talks about lawsuits. He talks about it wouldn't even be worth going after us because he's that important.
We're beneath him. We're beneath P. Ryan. Right. Yeah.
And that's fine. I look at these guys like they're beneath me, Ryan.
Right. Exactly.
These guys like they're beneath me. Okay. Because when I walk into a room, I won't go down that hole, but when I walk into a room, I can tell that, unless Jensen Wong's in the room or Tim Cook's in the room, I'm not, or Bill Ackman or one of these other investors or somebody that's had success in my industry, because we can get on a live. And if we wanted to, Ryan, we could have as many views. We could have, like, we've had a card shop. We could be doing all the stuff that these guys are doing. So I'm not impressed with what they are doing. And so he looks at us like we're beneath him, but
we look at him like
mutual.
He's beneath us. Right. We think Jeff's
the feeling is
us.
mutual.
Right. And I think that's why our content probably resonated, because we were the only ones looking down at these guys being like, Nat Turner, you're a bitch. P. Ryan, you're a bitch. Jeff, you're a bitch. Like, you're beneath us. Like, you're beneath us.
Yeah.
And I think that those guys are not used to that. I mean, I literally first message to P. Ryan today was, you're a fucking bitch for trying to go after Sports Card Dad, who sponsors the show, and fucking Neo. Like, fuck you. And I bet he's not really used to that.
No way. No. I mean, most people aren't. Most people aren't. You try not to surround yourself with people that text you at 8 a.m. like you're a bitch. You tend to avoid these people in your life. So
true, I mean, words. Yeah, that's very true.
People in the industry try to avoid us. But this comes back to control and manipulation. That is ultimately what they're trying to do. They're trying to control the comp. They're trying to control the population. They're trying to control who gets these cards. They're trying to control the flow of them onto the market. Yeah,
we can see it.
They're trying to control if a big card is coming up. They have all the Luka. If the Luka Doncic 1/1 is coming up, they're going to control everything else coming up behind it. Okay, and look, some of this is maybe spoon-fed straight from the auction house. The auction house's job is to get a high hammer price and then come back at the next auction, get some more hammer prices. So the auction house owner says, hey, I got a pristine auction coming up. and there's going to be $1 million Luka Doncic card in there. Well, I know you've got 5 of them. So maybe you should stagger those out for the next 2 months after that. Or, hey, I've got this Curry card that's going to get sold with, Jesse Craig. And, we're going to broker a deal. We'll get Darren Rovell, who's as guilty. We don't have him up here. He's as guilty as all these guys in terms of manipulation and propping all this stuff up. He has a large collection. He has every, he wants to keep everything propped up in this industry. And he's in here propping all of this stuff up.
Well, they're the first people when there's a record sale, they'll run to the microphone and say this Curry sold for $500,000. They don't know if the fucking check cleared.
Right. No,
they have no idea.
They don't care. They don't care. It doesn't matter because it's all about manipulation. It doesn't matter if it's funny money. It doesn't matter if it's all smoke and mirrors, because it's all about control. If you have control of that high-end market, and then you have control of part of the comp, now you have control of the repack. Now you have control also of your buying. You have control of a large portion of the market if you control that high-end market. And that's basically because, again, it's not about the love of the card. It's not about the chase with these guys. It's not about that anymore. I didn't listen to the first time I heard the James Beckett thing was I was at the golf course today, and I listened to Dan the Cardman's video, and he played clips of the interview in the thing, and I was like, that was the first I had heard what these guys had said, but I had not heard them say it, and I heard them say it, and I was like, wow, these guys are fucking assholes.
Don't listen to part 2. Don't listen. Part 2's worse. In terms
These
of them
guys
sounding like
their
assholes.
Fucking asshole is fucking like a 5-star dinner or something. Like, these guys think they're, and part of it is the hobby treats these guys like that.
Mm-hmm.
They treat these guys. Oh, you have a couple of nice cards. You have a little bit more money than me. Oh my God, you must be more special than me. It's like, fucking A. You know what the hobby is, Ryan? It's the top Series 1 cards that come out, basketball, football, baseball. It's when we set up at the shows and the dad's coming through and his kids is excited about opening the packs and looking at the cards and learning about the players and learning about the history of the card or the team, or he just happens to be into soccer or basketball. That's the hobby.
Colin.
P. Ryan is a nobody.
Colin, here's the amazing thing. The hobby can be whatever you want. These guys get propped up on a fucking pedestal like they're on Mount Louisville. Talk about Dr. Beckett on being on Mount Rushmore. The hobby can be whatever you want. The best part of my week sometimes is on Sunday bidding on these fucking stupid Fanatics Collect auctions because I got all my tickets sold. Most weeks have been really, really good this year. My comps have really gone up. My bank account comps have gone up. And I sit around and bid on these things. And if you go to my Instagram, I probably bid on fucking 150 fucking things the other night. I can only win like 20 things. It's obnoxious as fuck because there's either show bidding or a lot of competition for these items. Hobby is whatever you want it to be. These guys want you to think that they're above you. And you have to listen to them and you have to look at my prices. And you have to listen.
You're an idiot if you don't pay my price.
With how many cards there have been made, there should be good deals flying everywhere. Like, you should be able to make a living just crushing this shit online. But a lot of this stuff does get sucked up by the select few, by the hobby heroes. And there's people, there's small time people who run the shill bidding game, who run the price manipulation game. I ran through a number of different These show notes are on Sports Card Radio. I ran through, protecting the value of your cards. You could obviously artificially pump the value of your a card that you don't even own. The Desmond Ritter gets listed on eBay, and you just put a fucking $350 bid on it, and you never pay for it. And maybe you get a little strike, or maybe you have to get a 15th Ticketmaster account or eBay account, and it's really no big deal. Guess what? Card Ladder puts it in their database. They aren't going to check the value of that. Then guess what? You take the similar card and you sell it online to a repacker. You take it to a show and with the fake comp that you created, you could shill bid a card. We've talking about that today. You submit the card to the auction. You submit the Michael Jordan autograph. Then you place a bid on it. And then you're dumb enough to put it on Instagram. Doesn't matter. Offensive, defensive, all this stupid shit that Dr. Beckett had. What a fucking idiot. Thank God for Dip Daniel fucking smacking Dr. Beckett around, or maybe these other guys wouldn't have done it. You could actively create fake comps. You could make shill bidding a business model. You could just take card after card after card, create a fake comp, and then hook up with a repacker, send them a spreadsheet and say, hey, yeah, look at all these comps of these cards that sold. I'll take 80%. And this is just, again, they want to manipulate. I don't understand why it's always manipulating. I only ever hear about manipulating the market to the upside. Do these guys actually not buy cards? They only want to manipulate like certain ones. Like, why would you not want the prices to go fucking way down? You come in, scoop all that shit up, and then you come back a couple months later, or whatever later, and you just start trickling this shit out, or you start doing buy it nows, or you fucking have a different way of offering this shit, knowing that you just acquired a bunch of underpriced assets.
That's how you know it's not about collecting. It's about control and manipulation. That's what it's about. Because like you said, if it was about getting the cards at the best price, getting the cards for a long-term investment at the best price, it would be about getting it at a lower price, figuring out how you can actually get the price lower, getting a good deal. Is there arbitrage on the Fanatics site versus ComC or going to a show? Finding that out and celebrating that. That's what it would be about. But instead, it's about control. It's about manipulation. It's about comp control, grade control. All of that is like a real thing. You have pop control, comp control.
Right.
Instead of defensive bidding and offensive bidding, the terms everybody needs to have, and most people are aware of these, is there's absolutely pop control at the grading companies, and there's absolutely comp control. And at the center of that are people like Jeff Wilson, Card Ladder, who also is owned by PSA. So these companies are controlling it. They don't want the prices to go down. The auction houses also don't want the price to go down because they're earning a commission off of the sale. They don't want the price to go down. So all of these guys have an incentive to keep the price elevated. And so they only want to manipulate and control a higher price. Whereas in a normal market, like for example, Ryan, if I wanted to shop for real estate, I wouldn't be celebrating that condos in Miami have gone up 25% in the past year. Instead, if I wanted a condo in Miami, I probably would want the comps to be declining by 25%. And so that is how you know these guys are more about control and manipulation. They're trying to control and manipulate the market because they are getting a percentage of the sale. Or if the comps stay high, they benefit some way. And that is why they can get on podcast and sound like pomp. And this is rich coming from us, Ryan, because there ain't no bigger pompous fucking asshole than us. And what we've said to people, okay, these guys got on this podcast. I only heard the clips that Dan the Cardman played.
Ooh, don't watch the second one.
The video. I was like, oh my God, I'm a fucking dick. But damn, these guys have no self fucking awareness at all. And they must have had their asshole licked for the past. I mean, Beckett for sure. P. Ryan must have had his asshole licked by the industry for a
sure.
really, really long time to think you can have the week or two that he has had and then get on a podcast and still act like a fucking asshole. Ryan, you and I can get on this podcast and act like an asshole anytime we want, largely because we're not necessarily getting our ass licked by the industry, and we're also not needing our ass licked by the industry. This guy needs to control and manipulate the high-end market, and he knows the rest of the industry that is controlling and manipulating things. These guys got on a podcast and sounded like the most arrogant assholes I have ever seen. And so maybe a little bit of self-awareness to go along with maybe putting down the bottle, maybe dealing with whatever family troubles you have. Ryan, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going through a hard time. Maybe I'm not on social media very much. You know what I mean? Like, maybe if you're going through a hard time, maybe don't get on fucking Instagram and talk about pictures of men. You know, and that's why I don't like, look, I have sympathy for people in a lot of situations, but don't have a rough
Log
week
off.
talking about pictures of men and then go blame it on your mom. Fuck that. You're a fucking pussy for doing that. Your mom fucking gave birth to your fucking ass, and in her last moments, you're blaming her for your rough week on Instagram talking about pictures of men. Fuck you. Fuck you. You are a piece of fucking shit for doing that. You should feel like shit for doing that. Your mom fucking raised you, gave you her whole life, and then now in an accident towards the end of her life, I don't know, I feel bad for her. Allegedly. But my God, now you're saying that's the reason you've had a bad week on Instagram talking about pictures of men when you can click the fucking log off button?
Any day, anytime.
And if shit like that is going on, Ryan, heaven forbid that happens to anybody watching. But if that's happening to you and you're getting on and talking about your Michael Jordan card and other pictures of men,
for real,
you're a fucking loser. A loser.
Yeah.
And that's why the industry's got to stop licking these guys as asshole.
Yeah.
If they were great guys, Ryan, I would get on here and say, these guys are great. They're fantastic. You like, I gave a compliment to T-Pott. Anybody that's been around me for any length of time knows I do not hand out compliments. You know, my kids are different. You know, like, there are situations where I hand them out. I do not hand out compliments. I also do not want the compliments back. I don't need them. I don't know too many people with higher confidence than me, other than maybe Kobe and Michael Jordan. I look at them, I'm like, damn, I thought I was arrogant. These motherfuckers are, you watch I remember watching the Jordan documentary and I was like, damn, I'm not the only one that thinks I'm the fucking shit 24 hours a day. It was like a load off of my back. I was like, damn. So it's like I can't believe that this man has a bad week on Instagram and he's blaming his mom. Like,
yeah.
God damn.
Damn,
the audacity of that.
Well, and then he's mowing everybody else in the hobby down,
right?
Rightfully or wrongly, rightfully or wrongly. He's going
shit.
nuclear here. Like, this is rarely seen from a guy of his stature. Again, a guy who's capable of walking a raw Michael Jordan in a PSA and getting a fucking PSA 10. Like, nobody can do that.
God damn. It's insane.
I mean, that's why we're here, because this whole situation is very interesting. He's not going to leave the hobby. The last we're going to hear from him.
I don't want him to leave the hobby. But right. The hobby's not you, bro. You're not it. You're not it. Walk into Fanatics Fest. Walk into the National. Walk into a random card shop in Michigan. It ain't you, bro. It ain't about you. It ain't you. That's and log the fuck off. Log off. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like we've had success in this hobby. The hobby's made us money. The hobby's gotten us attention, whatever, all that type of stuff. Log off. It ain't real life. Colin, fucking real life.
We're in the real talk section of the program. You could argue that we were at kind of the peak of our powers and we walked away. Like, this hobby ain't about you. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter where you are. It like these guys are so arrogant.
I don't even like, you know, like I'm always going to collect cards. You know, like I got Kobe Bryant cards that came in the mail. I've got stuff in the safe. I don't have any of this high end stuff because I know what these guys are doing. You guys don't think I can't afford this high end stuff? Maybe not a $500,000 Curry card. I'm not buying that. Okay. I'll buy a fucking cabin, you know, in the woods before I buy a $500,000 baseball card. But a $50,000 baseball card, $100,000. I mean, I'm looking at $100,000 watches. It's a longer process for me. I'm not going to just go buy it. I mean, I've probably spent, I don't want to say, but I mean, I buy sweaters that are like $3,000, $2,000. So I buy clothes that are very like the most expensive clothes you can buy. So I'm not opposed to spending money on this type of stuff. But I don't buy this. The manipulation in the card industry is insane. I also think that if they didn't manipulate it, you'd actually have more whales and more people wanting to spend money on the high end. What happens, Ryan, is, and I've talked to some of these guys, they get into it. They hear about Gary Vee. Gary Vee brings them in. Or, you know, like one of these guys brings them in. Hey, cards are hot, whatever. And they come into it. And then they're like, this is sleazy. There's pop control. There's comp control. There's trimming. There's all this stuff. Fuck that. You know, like I'm going to go buy my Ferrari or I'm going to go buy whatever. The condo,
Colin,
you know?
Colin, you know this from from talking about stocks. There are fees. The fees are out of fucking this world, and they all go to the Good Old Boy Network. The fees to create a card, the fees to sell a fucking card, the fees to fucking put a card in a plastic holder to get an evaluation.
We need Robinhood to fucking come in here and fucking create the market for cards and lower the fees down to zero. I mean, if you can trade stocks for $0 these days, which is common across the entire industry, and the industry is still making decent money, you know. Again, and that's what the Good Old Boy Network is protecting. Mm-hmm. They're protecting all of that. And that's why we're a threat to them, is because we're the only ones that can logically explain these types of things and actually address it. Neo Cards and Comic might address it, but then 10 minutes later, he has to take the video down. Because my God, he always threatening some, you know, P. Ryan's wallet and the comp and the pop control. You got to take down the video really quick.
I'm less bashing Neo than it's like I go after the bully, because it's like P. Ryan. It's like, dude,
nah, but you're a bitch though. No, you gotta.
Of course, but we that's been established that most of these content creators are a bitch. But like,
but now you're part of the problem. You could be a part of the solution, but now you're part of the problem.
That's a great
part of the problem.
You make a great point, because it's going to take everybody. If this makes you mad, if this is infuriating to you, it's going to take all the content creators coming together, demanding bid history from all these guys, third-party evaluations of your Fanatics Collect account, your Golden account, your eBay account, anything where your text messages in the group chat. All of that needs to be evaluated, not just from here, let me show you on my phone. No, somebody actually probably needs to dig in and actually do that yourself, so that there's no video editing going on or delete a text message or whatever happens. But this hobby has to start demanding better. If you guys just go back to talking about the comps on the Mickey Mantle card in this record sale, you guys fucking, like, first of all, fucking idiots. Because 99% of you aren't in the Good Old Boy Club and don't have the opportunities to get there.
How do we know that these guys don't actually care about the hobby, and they care more about the comp and the pop and that control and manipulation? Is they would come out and try to solve this if they actually cared about it. No, instead they call you an idiot. They say you're fucking stupid if you get a good deal. Oh, we've got to protect ourselves. Protect yourself.
They threaten to sue you.
And then if you mention anything about that, they threaten to sue you.
Then they invest in media companies that pump the industry.
Right.
And can pump your items.
Yeah. Right. It's all circular. And again, I go back to my point. Like, if they didn't do this, the cards would be selling for more, because more intelligent people with money, instead of me buying $15,000 on Louis last month, I might have spent a little bit on cards, but I'm not going to spend any money on, like, luxury is supposed to be fun. Luxury is supposed to be, luxurious. And I don't know, Ryan, maybe a $500,000 card is not supposed to be luxurious, but I look at it like that. And I think most people with money look at that purchase like that. And certainly if they have a wife and a kid, they have to justify that type of spend. Even if $500,000 is not that much money to you, it is still a significant amount of money compared to what else you could be buying. And that's what goes through the mind of the people that buy this. This is why it's such a small club. But it's in the P. Ryans and the Nat Turners and the Jeff Wilsons. It's in their benefit to keep it as small as possible. They want to keep it small and exclusive. So they have control and manipulation around the whole thing. They want to keep it small and exclusive. Whereas my argument is, like, look, if you open this up and the blockchain, everybody's bid history was on blockchain and audited instantly, like you could see it all and everything was transparent, this industry would take off like the fucking stock market.
Correct.
And you'd have liquidity out the door. Yeah, occasionally the shit would tank, like shit would tank. Exactly. Like the shit in April, like, tanked in the stock market. And yeah, I loaded the fuck up and it was great. And now I'm sitting back. I haven't really bought much in 6 months. Okay. So, like, that's good. And that's why that market is so lucrative, is that the stock market has moments where it tanks. It has moments where it goes down. These guys are trying to hold everything so steady within a 10% range of the last comp, because their whole business model relies on that. And they're trying to control the pop at a certain level. It's all about control and manipulation. And the industry needs to become more vocal about that. And you need to start identifying it more and identifying that is the problem. It's the control and the manipulation of the free market that is not free. And I'm not talking about from a fee perspective. If the market got opened it up, the fees would go down. There would be more transparency around pricing, and more people would come in and want to participate in that market. When it's manipulated and controlled, people with a brain cell don't want to get in there. People with the money to spend on these cards say, well, so they do pop control, they do comp control. The card might be trimmed. Like, that doesn't make me very excited about the industry. And again, everybody watching this is deep into the weeds in the hobby, but you have to, like, remove yourself from it a little bit and say, what if I was coming into this fresh and I had options? Like, if you're a $10 collector,
Colin, the sell process is very difficult. If you want to sell your 100 shares of NVIDIA, you just click a fucking button. You can probably do it right now. You want to sell your 30 Michael Jordan 86, 87 Fleers. That's a complicated fucking process. Yeah. There's not exactly a liquid buy ask price on these things. So it's still an industry, even though it's obviously taken off a lot in the last 5 or 6 years. It's still an industry in the fucking kindergarten when it comes to these the marketplaces, establishing value on these cards, creating liquidity, creating really robust marketplaces where there's not just one weekly Sunday auction. There should be auctions every fucking day on these sites. Well, I shouldn't have to wait a week to bid on these 10,000 cards. These cards should be churning over constantly. And again, the fees should be way less when it comes to selling these cards. The fees, especially on these external marketplaces.
The fees and complications are around it all. And then there's the buying of it too. If I want this Curry card, my God, I got to know a guy, and I got to get shine on the jet and all this other shit. It's,
You got to get
like, I
approved by
understand.
Golden. That's why it's like these closed marketplaces. You can't just log in and bid on Golden. You got to fucking email somebody. You got to get approved for a certain amount of money.
Right.
So these are very much closed like markets. And I hate that. I mean, we talked the beginning of the show about our boy from ASU, Pat Tillman, and all the people who have fought for this country and fought for freedom. Not only freedom of speech, but freedom of markets. Freedom of markets. You should be able to like freely buy and sell these cards without worry that you're being underbid by Dr. Beckett or P. Ryan or Jesse fucking Craig or Brent Higgins or Jeff.
And you
or
should get a
guys.
deal every once in a while. Like you should wake up one day and, oh, Meta's down 30% because fucking Mark Zuckerberg's going crazy. Awesome. Like when these guys get hurt, it should create, some momentum. And I know it does. CJ Stroud, nobody's talking about him. Jaden Daniels, nobody gives a shit about him. The rookie card market is kind of one thing. But when we're talking about like Michael Jordan cards, I mean, these are so tightly controlled that it's unfortunate, but that's the state of where we're at. What else do we have tonight? I don't think we need to go on too much longer. I think we should try to end on a high note before we start talking about, Mama Breaks or She Breaks or Sarah or any of the, we start digressing there. That's when we get the most negative comments.
We talked about.
We don't want to digress into that.
We talked about Michael Jordan earlier. My girlfriend saw me pacing around earlier. She was like, are you nervous? And I looked at her. And I was like, nah, I just feel like Michael Jordan about to go into a game. So I don't know if my performance was that of that, but I definitely felt pretty good. Maybe it was the narcotics I was taking. But again, we have an offer on the table to prove that your Rolexes are real. For some reason, it is kind of weird that Jeff, like, he knows that the Rolexes are real. So it's weird that he would like.
The last public video that I've done outside the live stream was actually a video. Like I got called out. The Rolexes are fake. Very similar to how T-Bott and Jeff have gotten called out and said, hey, your bids are fake or you're showing your stuff. I did a video. Yeah, it was meant to be kind of funny or whatever. That's kind of what we do. I showed the receipts to the Rolexes. I didn't have to do that. I don't really care. I don't care if he thinks they're fake. It's okay that they're not his. He didn't buy them. I don't know what they're worth. I don't know what the comps on them. I know that gold is like at $4,000 an ounce. Sure. And as long as that keeps going up, most of the, I don't buy them to wear them necessarily. I buy them because I like gold and it's cooler to own a Rolex than a gold eagle. And that's kind of where we're at. But I'm willing to prove that they're real. I'm willing to put $100,000 in escrow. I can give me it now. You have to give me a couple days. I got to sell some NVIDIA shares and Broadcom shares. But I can get 100K, but I need to know that.
Hey, no. You know what we're going to do is we're just going to manipulate the Giants Packers market to the fucking downside. And trust me, I got this. Right. Guys, if you want to buy some New York Giants tickets, I do it tomorrow. Because I'm going to manipulate that motherfucker to the down fucking side. So get in there, because if you wait till Friday or Saturday or Sunday morning, you're fucked. You're going to pay whatever the fuck I want you to pay, motherfucker. So get ready for that. If you're in the East Rutherford, New Jersey area, get your fucking tickets now. Tomorrow I'll start manipulating the market tomorrow to the downside. So get in there and buy.
Yeah,
exactly. You'll be too late by Thursday and Friday. Trust and believe that. That's my plans for tomorrow. Colin, you got any big plans?
I mean, you
gonna manipulate any markets tomorrow? What are your plans to manipulate?
No, I don't think I'm gonna. I mean, I'm always on the lookout for it in the stock market. You can manipulate things from an information standpoint, but the liquidity is so strong. I'm always just looking for the truth. I'm just looking for the truth in what's happening. I don't really care if AI is a bubble or it's not. And so every day I'm just kind of waking up and trying to figure out where that market is and stuff. It's a trend we've been on. We were talking about semiconductors and AI before ChatGPT was even launched. And so we have clients that really respect our work because we were, most people are hearing about companies like Credo and Vertiv today. We were talking about them before they had any analyst coverage. And so obviously most of those stocks have gone up 300-400%. And so we have clients that have experienced that. And so they continue to expect that. So it's hard. We've made a couple of buckets. And so the clients expect that. And so now I'm sitting here thinking, fuck, like it wasn't easy, but the market was obviously kind of a perfect storm.
So you're like Michael Jordan and you're trying to win your second or third championship.
Yeah.
Now it's the pressure of that and the pressure.
Yeah. I think there's pressure, but at the same time, some of the pressure is taking off because I don't have to go out. I actually don't have to market my stuff. I don't have to tell people to buy it. The reputation is out there in the industry. And I know this sounds weird because we come across as totally unserious people on here, but the Rolexes don't show up because I'm an unserious person. I take what I do very seriously. I think I'm one of the best in the world at it. And I post my track record publicly because I do believe I'm one of the best in the world at it, and nobody else does that really. And I think if I continue to work as hard as I will, I'll continue to be the best in the world at it, and I'll continue to level up myself in terms of finances. But now it's less about the money and it's more about the challenge of it all. It's fun to
the business or the challenge of what? The challenge
of the research, understanding, okay, here's what's going on with AI. Here's what's happening with NVIDIA. It's all public. It's all obvious. Now, how do you connect the dots down into the other? And then there are times we've re-recommended NVIDIA, re-recommended Broadcom.
Right.
When do you do that? Okay. So like people, like we did Oracle and Nebuous. People that are in the stock market know about these stocks. We recommended these a year ago before everybody was talking about it. So how do you keep doing that? How do you stay a year ahead of everybody? It's very similar to baseball cards. People are doing it with baseball. They're like, hey, this guy is coming up, so I'm going to buy his cards now. So when he gets to the major, it's the exact same thing as prospecting. We're just talking about $1 trillion companies here, and the payoff is massive because you have people paying us for that information. And so I do this every day. It's all I do. It's why you don't see. It's like I was on Instagram like today, just bombarding it. I won't be on Instagram very much for the next several weeks. I think I tweeted Jeff Wilson this. I don't tweet very often about trading cards. I didn't know all of this stuff was going on until you kind of showed it to me. It's just not something I'm paying close attention to, because if you care, this is something I always tell people. When I cared about what set and knew exactly what set was coming out with tops, I had 0 Rolexes. Once I knew exactly when NVIDIA was reporting earnings and what their gross margins and their profit was going to be, I mean, right. now I have Jeff Wilson saying the ones that I have are fake. So once I stopped caring about baseball cards and I started caring about something that has even higher value, then it's transformed my life and it's more importantly my family's life. So
well, probably you look at the sports card market and it's almost laughable. It's almost laughable how slow it is and how it can be not that the stock market can't be manipulated, and it is.
Oh, sure.
But this, and I noticed
it's not nearly as exciting. With AI especially, it's not nearly. AI has made things so exciting, and so there's so much investment and so much news every single day. You can be. I mean, I had a tweet that got like 250,000 views and hundreds and thousands of replies. I've posted videos that have gotten, tens of thousands of views, and obviously that converts into. I'm not worried about views. I'm more worried about people coming and paying me $1,000 a year. And that converts on a daily basis. People are buying my thing that it's $1,000 a year. So you guys can do the math. We have no employees. We have no offices. We have no overhead. If people are buying your thing every single day for $1,000 a year, and then it's renewing, about 95% of it renews the following year. you can imagine that. I'm not really too concerned about things.
I thought I made easy money until I saw the newsletter grift. Jesus Lord,
you saw the stripe deposits.
Holy
Are pretty
shit!
fresh.
I got 18 different Ticketmaster accounts. I gotta remember. Wait, which tickets did I buy the 49ers ones in? Like, what the fuck?
Here's what I love is that, you know, the ticket game is huge amounts of cash flow, and that's really, if you can handle the cash flow and manage the cash flow, then it's and your payout is very, very quick. You don't have the stress like of waking up and Michael Burry is talking shit on Oracle, and it's like, oh shit, I've got a stop loss at 230. We had a stop loss at 232 on Oracle, and it got popped. Luckily, we recommended it at like 120, so people made money, but we could have got out, I guess, at 350.
Well, I will be manipulating the New York Giants ticket market to the downside, along with a plethora of other markets too. But that's the only one I'm going to divulge on. Yeah, again, our boy P. Ryan is like a fucking he like, I would never tell him the games I was selling, because he like, anyways, that's a side note. But if you are interested in New York Giants football tickets, I would buy the tickets tomorrow. Anyways, I saw this. I live in a very weird neighborhood, Colin. I think we can end with this. A very weird neighborhood. And
what is this?
This is in Arizona. This is not in California. Okay. This is in Arizona. And this is a pole that somebody had and has a marker that you could have this pole. Okay. And I stopped and I was like, what the fuck is this? This is literally 2 blocks down from me. It says, love every man in spite of his falling into sin. Never mind the sins, but remember that the foundation of the man is the same, the image of God. And this comes from, I guess, the St. John. And it actually asks, do you agree? And it's currently at the time of this picture, 15 yes to 6 no. And we certainly have some people in this hobby who have sinned. Should we forgive them? Should we love every man in spite of his shill bidding and his market manipulation? I think the hobby is going to have to take a poll and see where they find out about certain individuals, is my guess.
Well said. Well, we will, on that note, we'll be back some other time, some other place. We appreciate you guys all tuning in tonight. And of course, we appreciate all the veterans that have served this country, past and present and the future. We're grateful for your service. Grateful for T-Pott calling in tonight. And we'll keep track of the drama. Do believe we'll be in Las Vegas in 2 months, so maybe we'll do it. We'll run it back.
I'll be there on Thursday.
Oh, so you're running it back a little sooner than I was. But one of the live streams this year was at the Consumer Electronics Show, and they have invited me back. So we might do it again. Thanks for tuning in. Your comp is fake. Mm-hmm. Your pop is controlled. And we're out of here.
What's going on? That PPP, you've done a lot of talking, not a lot to see. Up in the millions like 2.3, but Jeff got it all, getting off scot-free. Try to talk tips like we talking about stock. What you talking about, men, bring it on, cost stars. When you open your mouth, I take it with a grain of salt. Cause the market's down and you're a clown, it's all your fault. You ruined the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. You ruined the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. Did you get Jeff? I think you did, Jeff. What you talking about? I don't think you did yet. Well, he's doing shady shit like the GOPs, like his whole fail thing with the NFTs, taking money from the people who pay. Most of them are broke, but that's okay. He's getting money even better tax-free, loving all the stimulus from PPP. Cause the market's down and you're a clown, it's all your fault. You ruined the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson. Wilson, Jeff Wilson. If the market's down and you're a clown, it's all your fault. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson.
In and out. In and out burger time.